Wow, today certainly was pretty wild as the evening picked up. So the House has voted to formalize the impeachment inquiry. Impeachment is on. Hunter Biden defied his subpoena, and the GOP says they're going to hold him in contempt. He gave a speech instead. The judge has suspended, in Trump's election interference case, suspended it pending a result in whether in the hearing as to whether or not Trump's immune. SCOTUS has granted cert to the obstruction charge in the J6 cases. It's been an absolutely wild day. And, man, we got so much to talk about. Tucker Carlson has joined Rumble. Oh, boy, man. So I guess we're going to get into all of that. Plus, big debate on the Bud Light question. And we've got one of the best people in the world here with us to talk about all that. Before we get started, my friends, head over to thebestsongever.com. And, boy, do we got a deal for you. Go to thebestsongever.com and you can pre-order our new song, Together Again. And I'll tell you why you should. We put out a song. We put out several songs. We get mercilessly attacked for no reason. And we even had people in the music industry tell us to F ourselves. The songs were not political. They were fairly basic because they don't want us winning the culture war. So you know what we decided to do? We were going to put together a song called Is This What You Want? Which was going to be synth pop modern garbage. But the joke was not, is this what you want, girl? But like, is this what you, the music industry wants? Instead, we decided to team up with the Daily Wire, make a cover of their song Together Again, which was also their big FU to the music industry that told them they would not accept 100 times the standard licensing rate to play a song once for political reasons, I would assume. So this song is coming out on Friday, and we're hoping to shatter Billboard. We've gotten 3 of the last 4 songs out that we've released hitting Billboard. We didn't really promote the last one, but I'm fairly confident this one will reach Billboard, and we want to because we want to continually invade their spaces. Go to thebestsongever.com, pre-order Together Again, and guess what? When you do, you'll get a promo code that gives you 35% off your next order of Cast Brew coffee. The song is for sale at 69 cents, and then you can use that to save loads when you order Cast Brew coffee from castbrewcoffee.com, including subscriptions. Now, I'm not 100% positive because I'm telling my team right now what we want to happen is if you pre-order the song and get the promo code, then go to castbrew.com and subscribe to the coffee club. I want that 35% to be forever. Forever. Meaning if you sign up and then in 6 months you cancel because you can't afford it, but then 3 months later you sign back up, the discount reapplies itself. I don't know if we can do that, but I'm telling the guys, I want this to be the case. Every single month, you'll get 35% off. Basically means you get a bag for free. So there you go. Thebestsongever.com. Help us give a big fat middle finger to the industry. And we've got Jeremy Boring and Michael Knowles. They're in the music video. It's a funny bit that basically the whole thing is a bit of a gag, but it's modern synth pop. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to also head over to timcast.com, click join us to support our work directly. And you'll get access to our members only uncensored show that's coming up at about 10 p.m. tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll also get access to our Discord server where you can hang out with like-minded individuals. So definitely do that. Smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Joining us tonight to talk about this and beer is Seth Weathers.
I just downloaded and paid 69 cents for the song on Amazon.
All right, let's go.
So feel like I'm part of it all. Great to be here. It's definitely a good day to be here for with everything going on in the beer world. We've got some calendars. We've got a lot of exciting stuff happening.
You're the beer guy. You're the guy who, when Bud Light came out and did this whole Dylan Mulvaney thing, you said, you know what, we're going to make our own beer, as we should. And I got to be honest, everybody here is such a fan of your beer. You asked me if we had any, and I'm like, dude, if you bring like 10 cases, they'll be gone in the week.
Pretty sure you had half a pallet, but we'll send you more.
I think we did. Well, it's like, it's good. And people like hanging out after work or whatever, having a beer, and it's just instantly gone. So we were actually debating a little bit about what's going on with the Bud Light stuff, but I think I would defer to you as someone who actually knows how to ship, sell, and deal with beer, and you actually have a calendar of conservative, beautiful women that you just put out. So I'll save it for the show, but I mean, you've also done other things in the past with wrapping paper.
Right. I'm all beer all the time now. It's a lot. It's a heavy regulation business, but there's a huge market for, again, it's parallel economy stuff. And like, why are we giving money to companies that hate us? And they're taking our hard-earned money and they're putting it into causes that we hate. And so I sit there and see that. I'm like, and look, we can't do that with every single product. Look, my house is filled with products made in communist China. I don't want that, but there's not a lot of options. There is now an option for an American-made beer. and American-owned beer as well.
Let's go. All right, man. Thanks for hanging out. We got Luke Rutkowski as well.
Is it real women or modern women in the calendar?
It is real underlined women of America.
I'm looking forward to
want to
that.
be very clear. I said that.
Well, some of the names people would know, like Riley Gaines,
Kim Klasick, Dana Lash,
Ashley St. Clair,
Josie the Redheaded Libertarian.
Wow, you got everybody.
Yeah, we got all kinds of people in here. So you have to check it out at conservativedad.com.
Awesome.
Right on.
Cool. My name's Luke Rutkowski. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying 10% from the calendar is going to the Riley Gaines Center, which is fighting men and women's sports. I think we've raised about $20,000 for so far, and hopefully way more by the time we're done selling.
That's awesome. My name's Luke Rutkowski of youtube.com/wearechange. And a couple of months ago, we made satirical Tucker Carlson for President t-shirts when he was fired from Fox News. And now there's talks of him potentially becoming a vice president. I think that's a great idea. If you agree, you could get the shirt on thebestpoliticalshirts.com and support my independent media organization. As of course, this company started because YouTube demonetized me. I also have wearechange.shop, and I think us going into the business world, entrepreneurial world, is where we need to go. So thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you, Tim, for doing what you're doing. And Ian, what's up with you, man?
Well, you're welcome for me doing what Hey, Luke. Did you guys show this calendar yet? You want me to show this?
Not. I think you should.
This is
I like
Riley
it.
Gaines on the cover. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful cover. Look at that.
She's like not even Photoshop. She looks like Photoshop in real life.
Love it. That's awesome. And I love, Seth, that you said how you explained that we need to focus on buying products that are made in America, but are also America owned, because Anheuser-Busch it's in St. Louis, but it's a Belgian owned company now.
It was sold to InBev.
And there's people that have contacted me and be like, yo, I work for Anheuser-Busch. I work in America. It's an American thing. And it's like, yeah, but it's not owned. It's a foreign company now, even though it's made in America.
Which means a portion of all those sales is going to Europe.
Correct. Now, one thing I would like to say on the show real quick, if you are a chain director and you have a chain director experience in the beverage industry, specifically alcohol, but the beverage industry in general, we are looking for someone. And that is a hard job to find because you have to have someone that has experience in that. So I'm going to take this moment to ask that. If you're a chain director, have that experience, reach out to me on Twitter at Seth Weathers. If you have no experience in that, I love you, but don't apply.
Oh, you're about to show. Look at this. So
I want to give a shout out to this guy. This is Zen Joy.
It's really good.
Yeah, we met this guy in the street. We were just in a store, and we were like,
I was inspired. We went to a store earlier today, and some guy recognized me and asked me if I'd be interested in trying some of his products. He asked me if I like tea. I said I did. And he said that he sells what he makes is the opposite of an energy drink, a relaxation drink called Zen Joy. Small business. He pulls up in his van. He pops open the back and he's like, I got some drinks. Will you try them? I'm like, bro, I'll buy a case off you right now. I'm inspired by the entrepreneurial attitude. He says, I'm hoping to build this business and make it work. But he said something really great. He said, you get all these energy drinks. And he's like, I like to give these to firefighters, first responders, police officers, because I know it's a stressful job. I hope it helps make them relax. And I was like, bro, you just sold me right away. So shout out to Zenjoy. And he was super excited. I was like, bro, we'll shout you out. This is awesome. I really appreciate it.
It's got ashwagandha, lemon balm, and L-theanine. And this has got like a black tea, a little bit of sugar.
Yeah.
And I knew I liked it. I took a sip and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I took, without even realizing it, 3 more sips. And I was like, I guess I really like it.
Yeah, ashwagandha is really great. It's really powerful, but people should not take it more than for 1 month. I sell ashwagandha too, and I tell people, hey, only take it for 1 month. Don't take it for more than that because of the scientific kind of benefits and even negatives that you could get from it. But it's a powerful, beautiful thing. I sell it. I love it.
What's the website where people buy yours?
Wearechange.shop. But I don't want to plug mine. I want to shout out this guy for meeting us.
Joy. I like it.
Yeah.
Just being an entrepreneur and, seeing that dude pop up in the back of his van and be like, I'm hoping to, he's on a bunch of locations. I was like, dude.
He was hustling, working himself as the CEO, going store to store to store. So you gotta respect that.
Oh, it says shake well. I didn't shake it well, but it still's delicious.
Shake well. All right, we got Serge pressing buttons.
Yo, yeah, happy to see you here, Seth. Always a pleasure.
Great to be back. I love your hat today.
Hey,
excellent choice.
Wearing the ultra right hat today. Yeah. Yeah, let's get to it, Tim.
Let's get it. We got big news, ladies and gentlemen. House votes to formalize Republican impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. I love how they have to put Republican, but technically it would just be the impeachment inquiry because the Republicans have the majority. The 221 to 212 party line vote opens the door for the GOP to get more evidence about schemes that have seen the Biden family get millions from countries including China, Ukraine, Romania. And the Bidens will now have more of their bank records, mortgage details, emails, text messages, and mobile phones subpoenaed, along with anything else Congress wants to see. Since the start of 23, Republicans have been investigating Joe Biden over his alleged connections to his son Hunter's extremely lucrative multi-million-dollar influence peddling scheme spanning decades. With a formal impeachment inquiry vote, Republicans say the White House can no longer stonewall them for requested documents and depositions, but top GOP leaders have argued it wasn't necessary. You do not need a full vote of the House to do an impeachment inquiry to do the investigation that we're constitutionally obligated to do, GOP whip Tom Emmer told the Daily Mail ahead of the vote. But this is basically showing the Republican Party is investigating Joe Biden. It is formalized. They will have more powers. And this is step one. This is what we kept arguing about. They would say like, oh, we're gonna the impeachment inquiry is coming. It's coming. We're like, yeah. And so the story was Kevin McCarthy vows to hold inquiry into whether or not there should be a vote on whether or not there should be an impeachment inquiry. And now Kevin McCarthy's gone. And now they've finally formalized the impeachment inquiry process. So I'll explain it in non-political terms. They have formally launched a criminal investigation into Joe Biden. Should they find a preponderance of evidence, they will launch an impeachment, also known as an indictment, or in other words, an indictment. The indictment leads to a trial, and should Biden be convicted, that will be the conviction in impeachment and the removal from office. I don't believe that's very likely, but this is the criminal investigation phase of Joe Biden's impeachment process.
I've been sensing it, man. When Hunter stood in front of, was that this morning or yesterday morning? I think,
morning.
And just refused to answer. He made a statement and then left. And then did he leave like he avoided his trial? And
I will probably have a different opinion on that. And I hate when Republicans put me in these kind of positions of like, I'm going to have to defend Hunter Biden. I'm not defending him, but he wanted it to be a public hearing from the way I hear it. You know what? If Congress ever hauled my butt in for anything, I'd be like, I want this shit public. Like, I just really like the idea that for whatever reason they didn't want to have. I understand he's going to grandstand. He's going to try to make his point, his views, etc. But I think it's fair to say, yeah, if I'm going to be hauled in front of Congress, I want it to be public. I think that's a fair statement. I think it's a fair stance. So why can't the Republicans say, hey, you know what? We can handle our own PR for this. We'll let him come in and say what he wants to say, and we'll refute it live in front of the public.
I would be open to that. But so he refused to do it unless it's public, and they're like, hey, that violates the rules. You have to do it.
It's not a violation of rules. It's a violation of what they wanted.
It was this on top of Joe Biden answering reporters' questions. They're like, hey, what's up with these business dealings? And he's like, you're lying. You're all lying. And I'm like, oh, this is coming, man. I just saw this. This feels like it's been coming. I don't think anybody wants him to run as president, and he won't let go.
Well, I do. I want him to run.
Yeah.
I'm all for Biden.
I made Biden Fetterman t-shirts. I want Fetterman to be the VP on his ticket there because, obviously,
got a lot of karma.
Obviously it's a no-brainer. But not just that, but because clearly he is sticking to his guns. He's saying, I'm not leaving. Even a couple of weeks ago, the Speaker of the House said, there's nothing to really investigate Joe Biden on. And a lot of people are saying, well, that's kind of strategic right before this election cycle, because if we do impeach him, if we do investigate him, this might potentially make him not be able to run for the presidency of the United States. Is this going to be something that's going to be happening now with this impeachment? Why is there a sudden shift in Congress?
They have no spine. There's no shift. It's a different excuse. They just don't have to go through with it.
No, they need to get rid of Biden. This is not good for Trump.
Right. Oh, yeah, right.
The question is, how do you remove Joe Biden? If Joe Biden gets impeached, convicted, and then they criminally convict Donald Trump, they will say, we've been impartial the whole time. Joe Biden went down for corruption and Donald Trump, and now we have Newsom v. DeSantis. And you know who wins that election? Newsom.
Unfortunately, you are correct.
Why do you think it's just going to be DeSantis?
Well,
excuse me.
Well, I mean, he's.
It could be even worse.
I'm being hopeful when I say that.
Right. Newsom, Nikki Haley. Who do you vote for?
No, I vote
Newsom.
for Haley over that.
Really?
Oh, come on.
I'm on Newsom.
Rechtenwald or...
I mean, look, I'm not saying I would enjoy that vote. Why did you make such a terrible option?
Nikki.
I mean, that's usually the election cycle in America.
Yeah.
Turd sandwich.
No, but I was excited to at least.
Giant douche.
The worst of those is that I think Nikki Haley would get us into war with Iran, whereas Gavin would capitulate to the financial.
He would get us into war with ourselves.
Yeah,
he would spark a civil war from my perspective.
But you think Vivek, just the media hates him too much? They're gonna try and stop him and make him look like a bad guy?
No, I think Trump would automatically and say, hey, Vivek should be the president, because Vivek's the only person who said that he would pardon Donald Trump if he would become the president of the United States, and didn't hesitate to say that. So I think Vivek might have a path here with how tumultuous and crazy the situation could get here. As of course, if I'm Donald Trump, I'm rooting for Vivek if I can't run and I can't be the president of the United States. Tucker too, yeah.
Tucker could be VP.
Well, Tucker always made these kind of statements saying, I don't want to be a politician, but it's always the people who don't want to be the politicians that should be the politicians. So he always has a way of kind of saying these things and making people understand that there is a sense of duty and responsibility when it comes to public office that he understands, even though he says he doesn't want it, but then he describes people who don't want it as the people who should be there. So duplicitous messages, and this is why Tucker Carlson 2024. I got the T-shirt. I'm going to sell a lot more of them if this becomes the case. But it's not just about the T-shirt; it's about the future of this country that is in a very dangerous situation right now.
It's really funny because, okay, so if Joe Biden gets impeached, Kamala Harris will take over, but she will likely say, "I'm not going to run." She's probably going to in the event Biden is impeached and convicted, removed. Kamala becomes acting president and says, "I'm not going to spend the 1 year I have to help the American people campaigning." And then she's going to say, the Democrats will have a process to determine who the nominee shall be, and I will protect the office and this country for the remainder of this term. Then she bows out. Then Newsom steps in, and it's going to be, Newsom and who do you think his VP is going to be?
Lucifer?
I don't know.
Satan?
What if it's Newsom Haley versus like DeSantis?
Newsom, Michelle Obama?
Maybe.
Right?
It would be interesting to see people from multiple parties come together to one party.
Here's right.
That's the same party, Newsom and Haley.
Exactly.
So that wouldn't count.
Chris Christie. And this is why I think it's really, really funny. A year or two ago, we're all like, impeach what the Bidens have been doing for years. And now we're close to the election. We're like, no.
Keep them there.
Let the people decide.
Well, I think
Call your congressman and say no impeachment. We want Biden to stay.
I feel like if Biden stays, he'll win again. Just because of the way the system works. Unfortunately, I don't like the way the media can propel people to vote a certain way just by convincing them. It's very, 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 very powerful.
Hey, Elon Musk has actually had a huge change on what the next election will be based on Twitter, now X. So they were able to censor so much that just never could make it through on the old Twitter that won't happen this time. And I've said this multiple times, like as an example, our beer company would not exist without Elon Musk. Reason being, we would never have been allowed to go viral to the level that we did anywhere other than an Elon Musk owned Twitter. You can look at what we did on other platforms, hardly anything. Yet on Twitter, we have almost 50 million views. Yet magically on Facebook, Instagram, and all those places, you maybe get 1 million, if even that.
Yeah. If we had real free speech, if we had the ability to actually talk to each other without algorithms and censorship efforts, Donald Trump would have been the president of the United States right now. He would have not lost. But it's because of the censorship. It's because of the manipulation, because of the fortifying, why essentially Joe Biden was allowed to be where he is right now, because he was able to censor stories like the Hunter Biden laptop story from the general public, which we know played a major impact on the election. So free speech is important here, and I think this is why there's so many attacks on Elon Musk trying to destroy him, trying to take down Twitter, because if you take down Twitter, you could essentially fortify all the elections in the future.
Did you see NBC News' breaking story? I just love this. They wrote an article and it said the Tesla's new Cybertruck, weighing in at 600 to 800 pounds, could be lethal in collisions with pedestrians and smaller cars, experts warn. And I was like, wow. Don't get hit by truck, breaking news. But this is how much they're going after Elon Musk. They actually wrote that news story.
Incredible.
The Daily Beast did too, about a recall, about the
fake news.
software.
Real quick, this pissed me off. It's being reported everywhere. Tesla recalls all vehicles to fix dangerous thing. What it really means is Tesla issues software update you won't even notice.
I was about to say, you don't even have to go in anywhere to get it, from what I understand. It's just a download through your system. It's Tesla, right?
But they're calling it a recall.
Oh yeah, no, it's complete BS.
You're gonna wake up and your app's gonna be like updated, and you're going, oh, whatever.
I want to do a soft correction of what you said about Joe Biden censoring the Hunter thing, because I don't think there's evidence that he did it directly. It was just that I think there's evidence the FBI was involved.
I might have misspoke
Twitter.
then, but it was the intel agencies.
And it was before he was president.
Censored this, but the establishment.
You might consider that he was. I don't know if he was directly involved, but it was his son was the one that was under investigation.
You going to vote for Trump, Luke?
Maybe. Possibly. I still want to be one.
Who are you going to vote for? Who the hell are you going to vote for?
Man, bear, pig.
I want to have this conversation.
Man, bear, pig. There's.
You would go with that over Trump?
No. It depends. It depends who's running.
Biden, Trump.
I do think, obviously, if I have to, Trump.
You don't have to.
shouldn't even be a
You
hard
don't have to vote
question.
for anybody.
Right.
I'm explaining it.
I had a friend hit me up, and he's like, "Are you seriously?" He's like a liberal guy. He's like, "Are you seriously considering voting for Donald Trump?" And I was like, "Considering." I was like, "I'm voting for Donald Trump." And then he was like, "Why?" And he said all of the bad things Trump has done. And I'm like, I'm not even going to argue with you. Anything you think that Trump will do to this country that is bad, then I think America deserves based on its foreign policy. And Trump's first term was no new wars, and that is what we must do. So my view is this. First of all, economy was great. I think Trump actually did a pretty good job considering the weights tied to his ankles. He did some bad things, but I think it was an overall net positive. If the reality was this country will be in hard times, but no new wars, take it. But the reality is it's going to be better with no new wars. So my argument to the liberal guy is, oh, you agree with the military industrial complex? You want to vote for Biden and have more war in the Middle East, South America, Europe? No. Okay, vote for Trump.
Yeah. I hope he can keep his cool. That's a big
He
part
kept
of it.
his cool his whole term. There was literally no new wars.
He used to,
I mean,
he used to
that's the
tweet
thing.
a lot about like those radical. He would like incite the left-right paradigm.
No, but that's what kept us out of some of the wars.
It's going to depend who his VP is going to be as well. Because if it's someone that's going to be like another Mike Pence, if he's going to be surrounding himself with Henry Kissinger again and John Bolton again and all these other horrible individuals that he previously surrounded himself with.
If it's Nikki Haley, it wasn't Kissinger.
No.
If it's Nikki Haley, would you not vote for him? You would vote for Biden or sit
Nikki Haley or Biden?
No. If Trump chose Nikki Haley, which I think would be horrific as his VP, would you vote for?
Why vote? Why vote at all then?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, look. I will promise you this.
Then that's a vote for Biden.
If Donald Trump draws a gigantic pentagram on the ground in a black robe and summons the zombie corpse of Kissinger, I also will not vote for him.
Hey, they do that type of stuff. They do it. They do that type of stuff with Marina Abrovich, okay, and like that's on record. That's fact. There's videos. They summon demons through writing with their bodily fluids on the walls.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you?
I don't like that one.
What are you, a newbie? You just heard about this too. You just heard about this too. All the bodily fluids: blood, spit, urine.
Okay.
All right. Marina Abrovich. We broke the story. Spirit cooking story on We Are Changing.
That's what
we broke that
cooking
story.
is.
Yes. And
anyway, I was making a joke. I agree with the criticisms of Trump with Kissinger and Sheldon Adelson and John Bolton and all that was bad.
100%.
But no new wars.
I think you made a good point. The VP is very important right now. Very important because
if it's Trump Tucker, if it's RFK, if it's Vivek, okay, you got me. But if it's Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, or another Mike Pence or another neocon, I'm like, what's the point of even voting then?
Yeah,
you just gotta hope that Trump survives.
Again, I'm not here to vote. I think the idea is election cycles. Everyone says, "Oh, I got to vote for this guy." No, the ideas matter the most. So the people that push the ideas the most, the people who start the conversations the most, I think have a bigger impact than the actual person that is selected or elected to become the next president of the United States. So this is where I'm looking at. Where are the conversations? Where are the debates? Where can we push the Overton window to a position where we can actually make people understand the reality of the situation that we're under right now?
That's a really good point, man, because you saw the way Trump's generals just ignored his orders and played shell games. Like,
if we don't acknowledge the situation we're in now, it's going to be too late. I know everyone says that election cycle after election cycle, but I do think we're at a pivotal point.
Absolutely.
I want to jump to this next story. Hunter Biden defies GOP congressional subpoena. Quote, he just got into more trouble, and the GOP is vowing to initiate contempt proceedings after Hunter Biden flouts this subpoena to closed door testimony. We did talk about it a little bit already, but what do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to give him the Steve Bannon treatment? He's going to go to jail because he defied a congressional subpoena?
Well, no, because the Democrats are in charge and they run the intelligence agencies and the Department of Justice and their attorney generals. And of course, justice is skewed on a political perspective. But this could also be political pressure put on Biden saying, hey, we're going to put your son in jail unless you bow out of this election cycle by the intelligence state as well.
We are going to go after your son.
Yeah.
But I wonder, can the White House pardon on contempt charges when it's initiated by the legislative branch? Because I would imagine checks and balances are supposed to prevent this. If Congress holds you in contempt, the executive branch should not be able to intervene, right?
I'm not an attorney. I think we need one on this one.
I know that's interesting because Congress is saying do this or else. If the executive branch was able to come in and say no, they don't have to, that would give the executive branch substantial power over the legislature.
I'm kind of with you, Seth, from what you said earlier. That I think he maybe should have a public hearing. like his testimony in public. Why not, man? Like, that's not a partisan thing. It's just like, why are they trying to get him to go behind
It's
closed
not
doors?
family friendly.
I don't care.
They're probably discussing a lot of things that would be censored automatically on YouTube that we can't even discuss here. That he particularly, played a major role in, spending millions of dollars on,
Look, like the dude from Eve 6 had a great tweet, and I'm like, this guy's like a lefty. And so when Hunter Biden gives the speech where he's like talking about how he's not going to submit to this, even leftists are saying like, you've taken way too many photographs with crack and hookers for anyone to defend you at this point.
Yeah, man, he's a deviant, that's for sure.
And that's the least.
I would like
that's the least bad thing he did.
I would like to ask him.
All right,
how he's
that's admirable for a lot of other people.
I think like $800,000 on hookers.
$688,000 reportedly on.
They're called ladies.
So you know there was more.
It's at various women.
Over what period of time?
How many women? How many times a day? Like, I want to know some numbers.
Binders
I am
full of women.
curious.
Apparently, he wants you to know the numbers too. He's proud. Maybe he's proud of it. He's like, yo, if I'm going down, I want everyone to know what I did in my life.
Yeah, like just kind of curious at this point.
Over how many years did he spend that $688,000?
4 maybe or something.
But hold on. Let's be real. $688,000 on various women could also mean he bought them dinners. He flew them on private jets,
staying in hotels on islands and things.
I'm not sure the reporting was that he literally gave that much to women for their company, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Again, this is something we should get to in the inquiry.
I'd like to imagine. I mean, let's just think about this life. I mean, the dude is basically living in a swamp of debauchery, and I feel bad for him. It's like a cursed existence where he's just covered in slime.
Yeah, literally.
$700,000 on hookers, dude.
Yeah, these women have some slime diseases.
That's on the record.
I know.
That's not cash.
Yeah,
imagine what the cash purchases here. Okay, that's
because there's a lot of withdrawals. But like, I'm like, from the videos, the things I've seen out of Hunter Biden, these were not really high-end women. So I feel like this is a lot of different women. Like, it's not like he's getting the,
right, because they're talking $30-$40.
Yeah.
he's got to go a long way to get up to $700K.
That's what I'm saying. He's like, another 40. Oh, man, under a bridge.
I mean, dude, the videos, aren't there like videos where he's got like 3 women?
Yeah, but everything I've seen, they look rough. These women could not be charging a lot.
That's what I agree.
Yeah.
So we're talking like he's finding like 3 or 4 women and giving them each like $100.
Maybe
to get to $700K is a lot.
I wonder if he had,
maybe he just gives a ton
that's what I'm
because he's
thinking.
Hunter Biden so that you
maybe
one special girl. He gave like 300.
Right, exactly. Right, it's like one woman.
Took her to Maui.
It's $100.
Treated her right for 6 months.
Yeah.
Drove her around and
wasn't there a movie about this? What was that famous movie?
Weekend at Bernie's?
No, Pretty Woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was a very dark movie in the beginning, and that changed. Julia Roberts was saying, I didn't know.
Oh, it was supposed to be like really nasty.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, the movie is fairly bad.
Yeah. I don't know how women treat like, oh, it's such a love tale. I'm like, it's kind of. She's a hooker.
If Richard Gere was on
I know. Like, she was literally a street corner hooker, and everybody's like, such a sweet tale.
It's funny how this story with Hunter has these dichotomies. Like, he's like, my parents took such good, like, I feel sad for a human going through this crappy life with a super famous dad that didn't give him enough attention and just bought him out of trouble. But at the same time, like, bro, if you used your dad's money and he had like cycling political influence, that's like full on political. We cannot tolerate that in our government anymore. We're at the age of, we're coming to the age of Aquarius, but the age of openness, like the apocalypse is upon us. You can't.
Wow, that took a dark turn.
Yeah. Apocalypse meaning the great awakening, the great revealment. Like we're in this age of revealment where like, I don't hate this guy. It's just like, what, can we let it stand? Can we pardon him and just be like, yo, what you did can never happen again, but we're not going to destroy ourselves and you.
Okay. Hold on there a minute. The drugs and the hookers is a, Hunter, you need some help. I'm hearing that you're getting clean.
Correct.
This is good for you. Now let's move on to the bribery, the influence peddling, the funneling money to your dad.
Yeah, because he and Joe could have. They could have got us into
Air
Ukraine
Force too. The checks for the big guy, the money, the shared bank accounts. Yeah. The Ukrainian oligarchs and business deals that they had with what was the oil company again?
Burisma.
For frick's sakes, when you look at what's happening in Ukraine, holy cow, there are so many corrupted politicians there, and that whole case should have been properly investigated investigated Trump. Even just trying to investigate it was impeached for just trying to do that, which was absolutely crazy. And now we're going to finally investigate it. What's up? What's going on here? Since, of course, he was protected before. Now he's not. I think something's up.
What if Hunter flips?
Oh, wow.
Like imagine the GOP and Trump, they go to him and they say, not only are you going to be pardoned, you're going to be a hero. Just tell everybody what happened with Burisma. And then what if he comes out and says, we called my dad and asked him to intervene on our behalf. And then Joe is just like, oh, crap. Because think about it. This gets Joe out. It gives Democrats an opportunity to bring in Newsom.
Yeah, and I think a lot more people would be willing to pardon Hunter if he comes out clean.
It's safe. So Joe might say, throw him into the bus. This is what we want. Then the Democrats bring in Newsom. You'll get pardoned. People will cheer for you for calling us out, for calling out the corruption or whatever. You're not going to be perfect in the eyes, but you'll have some redemption arc. And then they can bring in Newsom. And someone super chatted saying it's going to be Whitmer, Newsom Whitmer.
Yep. I saw that too. And then Biden will pass on, and then Hunter Biden will become the next politician that will probably become the next president of the United States.
I don't think that'll happen, but you got to. It's like, man, with Joe Biden is clearly on the way out, not all there. Right now, the play for a father to save his son is to say to his son, I mean, come on, think about it.
Do you think Joe Biden has that much dignity and self-respect to throw himself off for his son?
I don't think
about that.
I think the root of corruption typically is familial and friendly bonds. The reason why they engage in this level of corruption is to enrich themselves. I do believe Joe Biden cares about his kids, and I do believe he probably abused his kids, to a great degree. So maybe cares isn't the right word. But my point is, the Democrats want Newsom in. They got to get Joe Biden out. How do you do it? The inquiry is slow moving. And right now, a bunch of people are like, wait a minute. We don't want Joe Biden impeached and convicted because we want him to run against Trump. Democrats need to get somebody in.
What if Democrats just make Joe Biden climb a bunch of really tall stairs a lot between now and the election? I think their odds would be in their favor. He won't make it.
No, because there's something that happens to people at his age where with cellular regeneration operating at such a low percentage, stressing the body actually does not improve him. It degrades him faster.
No, I'm saying he's going to fall. And
right. I thought you were saying that working out.
No. Workout. We're past. You're right. We're past workout. Yeah. That's no. That's darker thought there.
I'm just saying, maybe it won't be Hunter Biden coming out and being like, I must tell the truth. It might be something like, look, we called my dad. He did it. And then everyone goes, we got him. We got Joe Biden. The conservatives get to scream and rub it in the Democrats' faces. But then they bring in Gavin Newsom.
I think they're too arrogant. I don't think it'll happen. These people never think they're really going to ever get caught because they control everything. They are the deep state. They live in such a world of, I don't know what the word is, but they control it all when it comes to the deep state. They have no fear of themselves being thrown in jail for protesting or anything else like that. So I don't think so. I get what you're saying, but what you're saying is almost a rational approach. I don't know that they're going to take a rational approach.
I think you may be right, but consider this a basic chess move.
No, but that's a smart move. I think. I don't know that they're going to make that smart move, though.
Also, I don't think Hunter would do it because his life would be forfeit if he spoke
it's
out.
The opposite.
No, this would save Hunter.
It would save him.
If Hunter exposed the deep state's plots in Ukraine, Hunter would not survive.
No. You misunderstand. The deep state wants Hunter to do it. They need Joe Biden out. Joe Biden can't beat Trump. How do you get Newsom in? It's a great play. I don't know if it's a perfect play, but on the surface, you get Hunter Biden. Joe Biden's son is saved. Hey, Joe, we want you out. No, I don't want to leave. Okay, well, we're gonna save your son by having him come out and provide evidence that removes you from office. Your son will be saved. You will be out. Newsom comes in. Newsom gives us the war we want.
I guess if Hunter could expose some of the dealings without letting the American people know that they kind of got us into the war, and their corruption with Burisma accelerated this.
He will only reveal what the deep state wants him to in order to remove Joe Biden and get Newsom Whitmer in. I'm not saying it's absolute.
It's not the worst thing in the world. This guy's got a long life to live. I don't think he wants to die or go to jail or any of that. But
exactly.
I also think Joe
and if you think Joe doesn't have the integrity to sacrifice himself for his son, okay, then consider he doesn't have the perspicacity or the cognitive faculties to understand what's happening at all.
That's close to reality.
You're lying.
Hunter's going to be like, my dad did it.
That's Joe Biden.
And he's crooked. What can I say? I'm sorry, American people.
He'd be a hero
and then
to me if he did that.
Joe's response is, and that's it.
Yeah, Hunter has to go to the CIA and say, hey, I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. We'll take out my dad. I'm really pissed at my dad, as of course a lot of people are also kind of theorizing that a lot of what came out through the laptop was kind of a deliberate release, since there are many serious accusations against Joe Biden hurting his children, especially with the Hunter, especially with the Biden diary that the FBI was after, specifically even raiding the home of James O'Keefe after that. They kind of verified the findings in which essentially detailed some very disturbing events that unfolded between Joe Biden and his younger daughter. So a lot of people are saying maybe Hunter Biden released all the details of his laptop. Maybe he deliberately tried to get it publicized in order to bring down his father as a part of a retribution plan to finally get some justice against him for possibly hurting and abusing him.
At the very least, like subconsciously, I can see that happening, because like I've been really high in my life and like had such self-hatred that I would allow that stuff came out that was like true that I wouldn't normally say if I was sober.
But listen, Bill Clinton said House of Cards is 99% accurate for a reason. And when you watch that TV series, you see a lot of backstabbing. You see people just, take each other out politically in so many dastardly ways. And you see a lot of really sinister activities of people just screwing each other over all the time. That's Washington, D.C. So I think everything is at play here because the establishment is going to lose. They are going to lose their main puppet, their main frontman, their main skin suit that allows them to implement whatever policies they want on the American people, no matter how unpopular. They're able to do it through Joe Biden. Why would they give it up if they're going to lose this upcoming election no matter what? They need something else that is going to be happening behind the scenes that we might not even know of that's happening right now.
We have to just make sure that we don't trash ourselves, the Americans, in the meantime while this is happening, so that the global banking takes this country over. That would be the worst possible outcome. Like the Trump, Biden, all this Republican, Democrat crap has to be put aside for American unity coming into 2020. It's so important.
Let's jump to this cultural segment. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Walsh has taken off the glove and struck me with it in his latest episode. He said Tim Pool is wrong. How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. I respect Matt Walsh's opinion. I love the debate. And Matt Walsh says the Bud Light boycott continues. In a tweet, he also did have a decently long segment on his show where he addressed Dana White, Tucker Carlson, Kid Rock, as well as myself. And it was respectful and it was intelligent. And I agree with a lot of what he said. And I don't completely disagree with the idea of continuing the boycott. All I'm saying is we need to consider our next moves if the plan is a boycott. But let me read first what Matt Walsh says. He tweets, the Bud Light boycott is the one time in modern history when conservatives have staged an effective boycott against a major corporate brand. If we back away from this victory now, it will show that we've learned nothing and don't want to win. Not going to happen. Boycott continues. This shouldn't even be a conversation. Bud Light is a brand owned by a foreign conglomerate that tried to push trans ideology and is now paying the price. There is absolutely no legitimate reason to back away or let off the gas. They deserve everything that's happened to them. Well, as the debate continues, I'd like to first ask our local beerman who's here, who actually runs a beer company and has challenged Bud Light directly, your thoughts on the boycott and what do you think we should do?
I think I've been saying this from the beginning of this whole thing is like, this is the one time I've seen conservatives follow through with the actual boycott. In the past, we've been like, oh, we're skipping an NFL game. We're skipping a baseball game. We skipped 2 or 3 games. Everybody's back in the stands. This is the one time we've done it. I think the only way to be taken seriously in the future is to cause permanent economic harm to a major corporation. And I think that this is our opportunity. We may fail in the end. I understand what you're saying, but this is our shot to do it. And so you have to stick to it. So
your argument is
double down.
No one should ever buy Bud Light again, no matter what.
I mean, it seems a little biased coming from me. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, what would be the purpose of doing so at this point in your life?
So my argument is 30% loss in sales year over year up to date. And Bud Light has just put 105 million per year into UFC. Now is the opportunity to steal the narrative with what Sean Strickland said on Twitter, which can't be said on...
Sean Strickland's we're never going to be able to steal the narrative. Maybe within a circle.
The narrative is stolen when every conservative repeats what Sean Strickland said.
But they'll never do it. Most conservatives starts with a P, ends with a Y. They don't follow through and do these things. It's never going to happen.
So that means
Sean Strickland will, and that's why we're sitting there talking about Sean Strickland.
Okay,
But
so consider now where we go from here. If conservatives will do nothing else, what happens tomorrow?
I think they can continue with their boycott.
No. What does Bud Light do tomorrow?
I mean, there's a lot of things they're doing and they're going to do. They're putting more money into different brands within their entity. They're doing things like that. It's where they've pulled back a lot of the spending on their advertising for Bud Light itself, and they've redirected those funds.
Do you think Bud Light will apologize?
No.
Yeah, I think an apology would do more damage at this point.
No, I don't think it would. I think it would give everyone the okay.
I think an apology would actually boost their sales.
I think it would remind people what they did, and that would enhance the boycott.
People haven't forgotten.
So here's the paths we have before us. If everybody wants to continue the boycott, I'm totally on board. We need people to double down.
Yes.
Sean Strickland opened the door for you. I'm not saying what he does as a UFC champion is it's the tip of the spear, but you're acquiring the rest of the spear for this to work. He made some statements on Twitter directly under the banner of Bud Light, shockingly offensive to the woke left, and Bud Light said nothing. The attack opportunity right now would be for conservatives to hold up a Bud Light, repeat the words of Sean Strickland, and say, wow, thanks Bud Light for sponsoring UFC and Sean. We completely agree with your message. And then read off his tweets.
The conservatives aren't going to do it.
Then if the
conservatives come up to me in the gym and whisper like, hey, I really support what you're doing. I like it. I'm like, why are we whispering? They're scared. You think they're going to go say the kind of stuff that Sean Strickland,
which is why my argument was, at this point, with Dana White, Kid Rock coming out and being like, we've done the damage, let's claim the victory. I'm like, if this is where conservatives stop and they won't take another step forward, then the best thing we can do right now is say, we won. I'm not saying buy Bud Light ever again. Fine, don't. I'm saying claim the narrative victory. Say, we've done everything we wanted to do. Bud Light learned their lesson, and let it be a lesson to each and every one of you. You've lost 30%. Good luck in the future, but our message stands.
I don't think anyone's ever going to see that as a victory if they all go back.
I'm not saying go back. I'm saying at this point, you have to
claim a victory. Start claiming it today. I'm with you there. Say we've won because it's down.
You would have to say, we did everything we wanted to do. Because if no one goes one step further and UFC, Dana White, goes on Tucker Carlson and says, Bud Light's great, you should buy Bud Light, and no one calls out Dana White for this and UFC is unscathed, then the narrative is the boycott is over. If the boycott is over, Kid Rock said so, and Dana White basically, like he's not
I think those are two people. I've been out bars, restaurants, stores, etc. The average person is not.
This is not my point. My point is, how do you get Coca-Cola? How do you get Disney? How do you get all of these corporations to be scared to not do the same thing?
You have to look at the fact that Bud Light will still be down 25% or 22%, 24%, whatever it is, 3 years from now.
And this requires
that leaves a lot of fear.
True.
I think it will be. There's I've talked to distributors and stuff. There is 20 to 23 or something like this percent that will never go back to buying Bud Light. But that doesn't all their lives.
And they'll find growth elsewhere.
From now, they'll move it around. That's fine, but they will not be able to show within the Bud Light brand because they're treated like different entities. They're not going to be able to show like, oh, it came back. It's 22 to whatever it is percent. In 10 years from now, they won't have. That leaves a lasting impact on a corporation that goes and was like, remember what happened to them? That's bad.
I do think this will have a lasting impact. There's a famous case where in McDonald's in the UK, the reason why corporations don't sue activists, a couple of activists were standing outside of a McDonald's, I think it was a McDonald's, petitioning, saying, hey, McDonald's is bad, they do this thing. McDonald's sued them. McDonald's, I believe, it's an old story, I could be wrong. But I believe McDonald's was right. These activists were defaming them, and they won. And then they lost something like $1 billion in market cap because they looked like bullies attacking some little old ladies. So it was really, really bad for them. What ends up happening is when people challenge brands, the brands usually shut up and back off.
Well, if you want to double down, if the next move is to twist the knife, so to speak, the proverbial knife, you want to boycott all of the Anheuser-Busch brands, which are Michelob, Rolling Rock, Busch, Natural, Johnny Appleseed, and Land
also not happening.
And then the question is, do you want to boycott the brands of the parent company, the the Belgian company, AB InBev, which are Corona, Hoegaarden,
Hey, listen,
Leffe,
if everyone wants
Stella
to
Artois,
boycott every beer brand
and
but
Beck's.
conservative dad's ultra rye beer, I'm with you. I don't think it will actually happen, though.
So we did-
That's why I was specific about with Bud Light. I was like, this is it. You got to target in on that. And I said that early, and because people start saying, well, here's a list of all the stuff. The nerds are pulling out their list of all the beer brands you can't. I'm like, yeah, you got to focus.
It's like 6 to 8%. What's the right word? The impact on external brands is around 6 to 8%. We've seen Anheuser-Busch across the board suffering because of this, because some people are diehard. The only point I'm trying to make right now, what's the next move? Silence is not an option. I think what needs to happen is, by all means, say, we boycotted it, we'll boycott it forever, but it's done. We're moving on. We've won. This is your fault, Bud Light, and it'll happen to any other company that does so next. But you need to say, this is the extent to which we wanted, right?
That's fine to claim. I get what
yeah.
you're saying there. That's fine to claim the victory for there, but you can't say it's okay to come back now. Like Dana White can tell people to do keg stands in their
And they gotta call
garage
him out.
every day.
You gotta call out Dana White.
I agree, and I like probably a ton of what Dana White does. Not a big fan of that, because you know what? Who knows what you could get me to say for $105 million? So Dana, there you go. Good for you.
I think we're also in a position of power right now, and in a situation like this, they understand the leftist yuppies are not going to be drinking their beer, right? So why not try to get more out of this? And I think we can get kind of more out of this by saying, hey, we can't just be placated with a little bit of money. We want real cultural differences. We want investment. We want you guys to actually stand behind your word, not just advertise. We want more
Dana
than just
White
that.
can be placated by a little bit of money, or maybe a lot of money per se. Although, you know what? If they want to give $105 million to the Riley Gaines Center to fight men and women's sports, then I say big victory.
How much are you going to give to the Republicans? How much are you going to give to the Republican presidential nominee?
In the
Bud Light?
culture war, we just won a huge battle. The troops are broken. They are fleeing. Now is our opportunity to do the route. But they're sending a rear guard attachment to delay our route. That's the $100 million to Dana White as the rear guard defense. Now we can bypass that defense and go for the route by boycotting all of these beers from this company.
No.
That's it. That's the total victory.
Destroy.
I mean, it's what do you want out of it?
I respect the analogy, but I think it's a little off. The giving money is they've been routed. Their field commanders raised the white flag and said, we're willing to cede 10% of the battlefield if you stop. And then one of the commanders on our side came out and said, everyone, let's take it and we're done. And all the troops are screaming no. If that's the case, you cannot just sit there screaming no. Something else must be done. The opportunity now, I think, is going to be the figurative knife twisting of taking a can of Bud Light and reading off Sean Strickland's tweets and forcing Bud Light to either issue a denouncement or an apology. Look, all I can say is this. People really need to go read what Sean Strickland said to understand what I'm saying. I cannot say it.
It's just a tweet.
I cannot say it on YouTube.
I know, but it's just a tweet. No one's gonna. It doesn't have that kind of influence.
There was a guy who lost his sponsors in NASCAR because his dad used a racial slur in the 80s. That's where we were. Where we are now is that Bud Light shut up when Sean Strickland made a statement so strong. I can't repeat it on YouTube. Nothing happened. So this is us storming the battlefield and
really
winning.
Reached the average person knowing about that.
This is why I'm saying people need to take his tweets and force Bud Light to either support or denounce what he said.
Bud Light advertisement with him with the do-rag saying it to the world.
I don't understand why you guys aren't interested in boycotting the company.
He said it was sponsored by Bud Light. He said brought to you by Bud Light.
Like Bud Light's just a name of many things that the company owns. Why not boycott the entire company? All these brands.
You are correct. No one's doing it.
Look how hard it was to get conservatives to boycott anything past a couple days, and now you're going to tell them they got to read a list of all their favorite alcohol brands, and they can't get a Corona on the beach anymore. They can't handle it. We can't get Republicans to show up and freaking vote in a freaking primary, and you're asking them to give up their favorite beer.
We went to Charleston, West Virginia. It's about 5 hours from here. We went to Mardi Gras Casino, where several people recognized me and they were big fans and they were all holding Bud Lights. And I laughed and I was like, you guys drinking Bud Light? And they're like, well, I don't know.
My point.
This is the funny thing, right? We relaunched SCNR.com, and I got a super chat the other day from someone like, what is this? You're just going to launch this thing with no explanation? And I was like, bro, we've explained this like 20 times over the past 2 months. The issue is the average person doesn't watch every single episode of this show. So how often do we talk about Bud Light? Out of how many segments we do 5 to 6 segments per day on this show that gets spread out throughout the week. And over the past 6 months, maybe like 20 of them, maybe 30 have been about Bud Light.
We haven't talked about it in like 3 months.
Exactly.
I think that's when I was here.
Yes.
When we were in Austin, we were talking
So
about
a lot
April,
of
we were
people
going on
don't know this.
Yeah.
My view is simply, we want every company to say, I don't want to go near Dylan Mulvaney and woke sponsorship because I will lose lots and lots of money. So then that would mean we need to say, we did it, we won. Bud Light, bye-bye. And then we just move on from it.
That might be the right move. I don't hate AB InBev. I mean, they made a stupid choice by marketing their beer to kids through Dylan Mulvaney. And maybe that's all that needs to be known. Like, don't do it again. I'm not a huge fan of multinational corporations, but there's other ones like the Bank for International Settlements that I'd rather be boycotting.
Yeah, look, all major corporations, I'd say all, the vast majority of major corporations hate every single one of us in this room and everything we stand for.
To be fair,
and they give tons of money to those causes that we hate. Go ahead.
I think they hate everybody. I think most corporations are looking at numbers and they're thinking, how do we get sales? My concern is with a company as large as AB InBev, if sales among conservatives has gone to zero, they are not going to stop trying to market the beer.
But it hasn't gone to zero. There are still a huge percentage of conservatives that are still drinking it.
Absolutely, as I mentioned.
So they've got it right. So they've got to have that fear of, okay, we can't do anything else or we'll really be toast.
I don't believe
Conservatives drink more beer than liberals, by the way.
I believe that's true. And that's why they screwed up, because Bud Light, that woman was like the frat bro image. Like, well, who do you think's drinking your beer? You know what I mean? If a liberal's drinking a beer, it's going to be some weird small batch, craft brew out of Williamsburg or something.
Holla.
My concern is putting $100 million into UFC is an opportunity to say, spend money on us, give us your money. Someone super chatted that Dana White just got $100 million for free to make fun of Bud Light. Yes, we want more of that. How can we get more of that? What we don't want is for Bud Light to eventually come April go, we spent $100 million on this contract and it's given us a zero return. The shareholders are angry and they're demanding we spend the money elsewhere. Then they start investing in who knows what.
The same stuff they've always invested in. Liberal causes and just advertising in general.
So we want to stop that. We want more money to go to UFC.
I think they're in a situation where they're like, their ship is sinking. If their sales are down 24%, that's like a sinking brand.
Agreed.
But the UFC has a lot of money. The UFC doesn't need Bud Light.
I don't care if they need it.
Bud Light needs the UFC.
I'd rather Dana White, whether you love him or hate him, have the money over Dylan Mulvaney. And so the question is, if their ship is sinking, Ian, how do we convince them that we are the ones who are going to make their ship stay upright, but they have to give us the ship?
I just sink the ship. Just let the ship sink.
Yeah.
But it's not going to.
Well, the Bud Light brand will. Maybe not the overall InBev. I get what you're saying there. But
Bud Light will never go away.
The fleet will not be sunk necessarily, but the
it
ship
will
might be.
forever be a
The
partially
Dylan
sunk
Mulvaney
ship.
beer.
I want to see it.
Right. And you agree, they'll shift their spending to other brands.
Correct.
And they're going to spend on those other brands in the same direction they've gone with Bud Light.
No, they will. They're not going to do a Dylan Mulvaney ad with Modella or Corona, whatever.
But they'll do Pride events and stuff like that.
So does Yingling.
Absolutely. Yep, they do.
Not Conservative Dad's ultra rate beer, I'd like to point out. The only brand that's openly pro-life and does conservative hot women.
Then let's just say this. Let's just say this. The only option right now is the fight is over. We completely ignore Bud Light, never buy from them again. The narrative drops. We don't engage with it. We just support the parallel economy.
And go to conservativedad.com and buy your ultra right beer. That's the option, I guess.
Because then it's not an issue of if there's a boycott or not. It's we don't care anymore. Have a nice day. Let them spend the money where they want to spend it, and you spend your money on parallel economy products.
Yeah, because
Public Square, download Public Square.
I think that's a good option because it does feel like going balls to the wall against AB InBev is like hostile, like unnecessarily hostile.
I kind of like a little bit of unnecessary hostility in my life, to be honest, though. I mean, it's the way I've lived the last few years.
I don't know, man.
Decades.
I guess if you're going to go against a multinational corporation, a beer corporation might be the right one to target.
Hey, fun story. So this past weekend, we had our Conservative Dad's Ultra Right anti-corporate retreat up in Gatlinburg in the Smoky Mountains. And there was evidently a frat party going on each side of the cabin that we were all in. So we had everyone with our company, this huge cabin. There was this frat party going on. Somehow they ended up with a ton of ultra-right beer at these frat parties. I went over there for a little while. They were dumping the other beers. They had no Bud Light. I'd like to tell you. It was a fun experience. I'm waiting for those photos and videos to come out. I'll explain it all once it does. But it was a good time had by all.
Well, I told them the other night, my victory condition would be to see your company buy Bud. Buy that brand.
I like this idea. I think we're a few billion short, but I like the concept.
Maybe, yeah. How about we, let's jump to this next story. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you predictive programming. Hey, who wants to read those words?
I don't want to say it out loud. It
Okay,
says,
are you ready, everybody? Civil War.
what is this?
Official trailer, HD, A24. The new movie that is coming out in 2024, starring Kirsten Dunst and many others, is a movie about 19 states seceding from the Union, a civil war erupting, and the Western forces of California and Texas are attacking their way through the U.S. to make their way to D.C. for some reason. We don't know the exact story. All I know is the premise, based on the trailer, sounds completely ridiculous. Texas and California will never unite. There would not be a civil war in which those two states are unified because there are states between them. However, they do mention 19 states seceded in the trailer, so it could be that Texas and California are part of the secession, but the reason it's called the Western Force of Texas and California is because they're the two largest states in the seceding group. I don't understand why they would team up at all. I wonder what the story is going to be. But
how is there a Civil War movie that they did not consult the Timcast crew on? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I feel like this should have been like where they focused on.
I got a feeling
the
that
script
they're not
right
going to
here.
involve foreign countries coming in and because what would happen in a real civil war is the CCP would be heavily involved funding the war.
Absolutely.
You'd see lots of Chinese weapons and planes and
And the
tanks.
Russians and the Iranians and the Syrians
Like
and
every
the
civil war.
Houthis.
It'd be a bit of a mess.
Yeah, it'll be the Israeli government as well, especially.
And they would say it's
Mossad would be everywhere.
Yeah, they would call it California, but it ain't California doing the weapon. It's the same what
California.
Ukraine's doing right now.
It would be California. And the Chinese would go to them and they'd say, we will give you anything you want, and we don't care what happens afterwards.
And we will guarantee your independence after you win.
No.
That's what they'll tell them.
Right. Yes. They're saying, just fight each other. Just rip your country to shreds. That's it. But a lot of people are tweeting out predictive programming. The idea of predictive programming is that powerful elites, government agents or whatever, condition the public through mass media to encourage certain behaviors in the event of a certain circumstance. So a simple idea would be, let's say civil war breaks out. Nobody knows what it's going to look like. They want to create an image of what a civil war would look like before it happens so that your behaviors will fall into a certain camp. So some ways to explain this, right? People don't know what gunshots sound like because they only hear guns from movies. That's not what gun sounds like. Every time someone raises a gun in a movie, the hammer clicks, the gun cocks, which makes literally no sense. But because and I don't believe that this is to condition you, it's because they're trying to make you know the gun's coming. But you'll always see in movies like Indiana Jones, for instance, the new one, everybody raises guns to him and you hear all the guns cocking. Like, dude, the guns are already cocked, round is already chambered. They're raising the gun. There would be no sound, but for dramatic effect. So imagine it this way. Civil War breaks out, everyone does a bunch of random things. You make a movie, Civil War breaks out, and water is poisoned. Don't drive Teslas, a big component of the film. Then what happens is, this idea is seen in everyone's mind from watching a movie that's probably wrong. Civil War breaks out, everyone says better stay away from Teslas. That's the idea of predictive programming. I don't believe that's the case. I mean, it's possible, I guess. I think the reality is there have been numerous articles, numerous statements from academics, talking about the possibility of a civil war. There have been numerous polls where people say they want a civil war. There have been members of Congress calling for a national divorce. And some dude goes, this would be a great movie. And he writes it all down, goes to an investor and says, let's make this movie.
Yeah, there's many
What do
things.
we find out Tim's really behind the movie?
He's like,
Are you bankrolling this,
Somebody.
Tim? Are you
The whole
financing all
point
of
of the
this?
past 7 years was so that I can make
You
this
were doing
movie.
the predictive programming, I see.
So we
Knew it.
were actually talking about this idea yesterday. I just posted the clip on my Twitter at LukeWeAreChange, describing what I was talking about when it comes to predictive programming, because I do believe that there are actual incidences where this happened. 24 and torture is one of them. I mentioned it yesterday. We also saw the build up to the Iraq Iraq war have a lot of popular media that went along with it that essentially drove the American people to believe that their lives were in danger unless we fought the terrorist over there and not over here. So when you look at the intelligence agencies and their larger influence on pop culture, on media and entertainment, this has been something that they've been influencing for many decades now. A lot of people bring up a Mockingbird. A lot of people bring up the commission hearings that were happening within Congress that exposed the infiltration of the corporate media by the intelligence agencies. And if you're at the intel agencies, what better way to get away with these larger ideas than to kind of make people acquiesce to them through entertainment, through subconscious, subliminal messaging in films, in movies. I think this is why we are seeing such racial division tones almost in every form of entertainment now. I think it's also important to note that right before the Ukrainian war, there was an extreme amount of Russian propaganda. We saw the corporate deep state kind of media all in unison say, Russia, Russia, Russia hacked this election. And as we know, none of that was actually true, but the Russian boogeyman was built up. And now we are in a proxy war with Russia using Ukraine as essentially our larger kind of forces on the ground to do the fighting for us and sacrifice their lives for this larger neoconservative objective. So I do believe predictive programming is true. I do believe it has been used. There's a lot of different ways to interpret it. A lot of people will extrapolate whatever little things they want to extrapolate, but I think it's clear. Intel agencies control the media. The media does send out particular messaging that does actually happen.
You think there's a strong possibility that they're conditioning us to prepare for a civil war?
Now, as far as the whole Civil War context, again, you can't really say because it's more clear after the fact. So,
real quick, sorry to interrupt, but it could be that they're trying to condition people to not want civil war.
It's also impossible to figure it out until after everything happens, because then you kind of put all the pieces together, especially when it came to justifying torture in America, when it came to the larger entertainment series that also had intel influences that were excusing torture by the intel agencies. That's a clear example of them then us finding out through Snowden and WikiLeaks that, yes, they were actually torturing and trying to excuse it through media forms of entertainment. So a couple years down the line, if there's a civil war, we could say, yes, this was the kind of predictive programming. When the whole Russiagate collusion stuff was happening, no one kind of foresaw, hey, this is going to lead us to be in a kind of proxy war with Russia. Now that we are, I think it's fair to say that all the stuff that we were hearing about Russia being the boogeyman laid the groundwork for us now being in this proxy war. So this is how it works. We're going to know definitively later down the line. We can't know now. We can't tell now.
The reason why they were trying to claim that Trump was a Russian spy is because we were supposed to be at war with Russia in Ukraine in 2014 and 15 into 2016, or I should just say 2017, because Obama leaves, everything freezes. The escalation on the eastern front of Ukraine sort of stopped. Donald Trump gets in. He says, I don't want war. And then all of a sudden the Ukrainian stuff froze. I was in Ukraine when this stuff was all started. I was there at the beginning of the Euromaidan protests. I got to go and actually see the statue that was toppled, fragments of Lenin's head on the ground, and then Molotov cocktails. I ended up leaving around then. It escalated from there, and the remaining vice crew actually went to Yanukovych's house, the former president who was ousted and fled the country. Then Trump gets elected. Everything stops.
And if Hillary would have became president, there was a very high likelihood that there would have been war with Russia. John McCain...
likelihood? 100%.
Yeah. John McCain, I mean, it also depends on a lot of different factors. China also plays a role in this as well. So does Iran. So does Saudi Arabia. But we have to understand, Lindsey Graham and John McCain were in Ukraine during the Maidan Revolution, which was influenced by the intelligence agencies that also helped spur it on and help move Ukraine away from the Russian influence towards the more NATO Western influence. They were there on the ground saying, yes, we have to fight the Russians. We have to kick out the Russians. We have to have NATO here inside of Ukraine all the way back in 2014. And they were banking the military industrial complex, the central banksters, the controllers were banking on a larger conflict if Trump wasn't elected. And Trump still did some things. He did send lethal weapons to Ukraine, but his foreign policy definitely wasn't as aggressive as Hillary Clinton's would have been, as she's a total bloodthirsty war hawk that literally celebrates the torture and death of individuals and cheers and laughs about it.
I was thinking as you were talking that we saw he died. That was
died.
Gaddafi. That was so crazy. She laughed. Yeah, she thought
there's like
the camera wasn't on or
knife
something.
just being stabbed into his buttocks.
What we're doing is predictive programming as well. It's just not as subtle as putting it in a movie. We're actually just projecting what we think is going to happen, and that in a way is prepping people for maybe believing, okay, I'll get ready for what you think is going to happen. So that's a big responsibility. And Luke, I'm really glad you brought up that show 24.
Yes.
Jack Bauer. It was Kiefer Sutherland. It was in 2003. Right after September 11th, right after the towers came down, it was like he was like fighting terrorists, and he was just such a good guy.
And there was a nuke about to go off in
Yeah.
New York City, and they needed to torture someone to save everyone in New York City.
anything-
And then right after that, they're like, oh, we're torturing people. It's okay because we want to save people from getting nuked. Meanwhile, they were torturing goat herders that literally were sleeping with someone's cousin that they didn't like, and the Afghani neighbor snitched on them, said that they're Taliban, and then they were sent to Egypt and literally had their children, I can't even say this, but hurt in unspeakable ways by CIA officials that were torturing them in front of the goat herders there. For frick's sakes, it's just mind-boggling to see the level of just how sinister this is, and the things behind the scenes that actually do happen that they use to justify this kind of criminality and insanity.
We used to watch 24 because you guys
The Bush admin loves 24. So I have a fun. I'll give a short version of his story. Don't kick me off from ever coming back to Timcast after tell you this. So I once spent the day with Karl Rove, and his favorite show was 24.
Get out.
True story.
I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
No, that was
So what do you like about it?
I think all the things that
torturing
described.
people, going after.
We didn't get into a lot of I don't want to get a lot of detail. This has been many years ago.
It was like the show's 24 is all about 20. Every episode there was 24 hours until some horrible thing happened. So he was always in a rush. He was always a race against time.
No, it was a real time, wasn't it? Like 24 was the episode.
Oh, that's right. And then an hour per
episode was
episode?
10 to 11.
What was bizarre to me is I would have thought someone like Karl Rove, who's been in the places that he's been and lived the life that he's lived, he would think like, this show's stupid. It's so fake. It's so whatever. But he was like, no, this is a great show.
The Pentagon.
I watch every single
I feel like
one.
House of Cards did that too, man.
Yeah.
House of Cards made us think that it's okay for politicians to be corrupt. Like it's like, yo, it's just how it is. Look how charming Kevin Spacey is in this too. It's okay. He smiles.
The Pentagon literally hires Hollywood producers and writers to write scripts for them about events that they then go to the American people and say was truth. They hired Jeremy Bruckheimer to do the whole Jessica Lynch story. If you remember that story,
I did not know that.
That was an insane large psyop on the American people to push the Iraq war, to make everyone stand for this very strong, independent woman that stood up and fought to the last Iraqi. She stood up on a gunner and took them all down when in reality she was cowering in fear. The Iraqis took her to a hospital and said, hey, America, can you please pick her up? America sent in tanks, blew up the hospital, took her out, and then the CIA and Jerry Bruckheimer ran with a story saying this brave woman was saved by American heroes after she fought killing the last Iraqi, which was all bullcrap.
I know what the predictive programming is. The main character, the protagonist, what is their job?
Save the world.
No, they're a journalist.
Oh.
Ugh.
They're journalists. And so already the trailer's narrative is civil war is bad, journalists are good.
Gross.
Here we go. The media is distrusted. For years, people have hated the media. Kirsten Dunst plays a journalist, and she has this line. It's actually a good line. She says, every time I came back from a war, I thought I was sending home a warning. And I'm like, I really like that. She was saying the warning was, don't do this here. And
I think the last time
journalist's a
that
good
maybe
guy.
the last time that happened was Vietnam. I can't think of the journalist's name I'd like to name right now from Vietnam that came back with some of those warnings, but I wish I could name.
This is a good. I like how the word wars and the word warning. Don't do it here. Look what happened in Ukraine. Look what's happening in Ukraine. That's what happens when war happens
Ukraine's
somewhere. Don't do it
destroyed.
here.
I can't believe these freaking lunatics that were out there screaming from the rooftops that Ukraine could win that war.
No, they were lying. And they knew they were lying.
I don't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
And I remember early on, I was like, no, there's no way. This is not going to happen.
The only,
it would be like
country to get poorer after the fall of the Soviet Union, and they're going to beat Russia?
Yeah.
Come on.
And I
One of the
remember
most
having an
corrupted
argument.
countries in the world?
Yeah.
Like, even if they won, even if that, it would be so devastating.
Wasn't possible.
Yeah,
it
like-
was never possible. And I remember having this conversation with people. They're like, so "You're just talking because you love Putin." I'm like, "I don't like Putin." And we're like, "Well, you can look at facts and just say this country is going to get annihilated over time," and that's what's happening. They've killed off a generation of men in Ukraine.
I was talking,
This is offensive. Somebody in the chat said, Alex Garland is a genius. Tim didn't pass the 11th grade. That is shockingly offensive. I didn't pass the 9th grade.
who's Alex
I
Garland?
can't believe you beat me. I want to say I'm around 10th grade. I dropped out of high school.
Oh, nice.
Stop showing off. You guys, I'm done.
I was
I feel like such
homeschooled.
a
Hey,
chump
I
for
can,
going to
I can actually
college.
top Tim on this. I was homeschooled and I dropped out of homeschool. That's tough to do.
I
Come
dropped
on.
out of public school to be homeschooled. So to be fair, the reality is,
Do you have a GED?
no.
Damn, neither do I.
So Alex, Alex Garland's the guy that wrote this. Is that right?
It's a writer director. Yeah,
Okay, he did Ex Machina.
that's
I
right.
wonder if this
And
is gonna be
Annihilation.
good. Kristen.
I mean,
Dunst is pretty
I'll
good.
definitely see it for sure. But it's not like I'm going like, whoa, this is I got to see this movie. My attitude is like I'm interested to see what their perspective is and how they would portray something.
Yeah, because the power would be out. I mean, none of these cities would have electricity if there was
No,
a
that's
real
not
civil
true.
war. Well, you don't think so?
Of course it'd be power.
If there were jets bombing, I mean, it would be like
Watch him.
CCP
He's going
jets
to
and
reveal
American
something
jets.
in the movie.
Power will go out selectively in key areas when infrastructure is hit. Cyber attacks will take out certain portions of the grid, but there are ways that things will be backed up if people
I
have
think
power.
it would be an excuse for the CCP and Russia to go total war over the United States homeland, and it would be
No.
like V2, like rockets coming in out of orbit, hypersonic
No, they
missiles
would
hitting
destroy
St.
ourselves.
Louis.
You are right there, but not total war.
Not total
China
war is the
would go
wrong
to-
word. It would be a limited war in the United States.
No, they'd go to California and say, we will drop bombs on DC for you. And then when it's over, don't forget who helped you. They would want to maximize influence with the victors. A crippled United States would be subservient to China.
Yeah, they would let us destroy ourselves as
Right.
long
That-
as we would continue.
Well, my concern would be like the CCP would aid the dissent or whatever, the Californian dissent or whatever. I'm not saying it's California, but just if there was a civil war, one side would be foreign nationals, the other side would be the remnants of the American government, and the American government ones would be flying their F-52, whatever the hell these jets are, dropping bombs over the dissenters, and the dissenters would have Chinese jets coming in over Washington, D.C., and it would be just roads would be all blown apart. There wouldn't be, lights would not be coming on in the cities. The rivers would become toxic. It wouldn't be like exciting. It would be like no one would know what was going on, and they'd just be hearing bombs dropping and planes going overhead and stuff.
Yeah. This is the people don't understand. And people who have served in combat know better than I. Imagine you're in the middle of a shopping mall. There's no people around. Civil war is happening. You know it's happening. You hear gunshots. What do? You may be thinking, in a movie, you know the bad guys are all running in, and you're like, oh no, it's the bad guys run. In the real world, you hear gunshots, and you're like, I don't know. And then someone runs in, and you're like, are they a good guy or a bad guy? Are they on my side, or what do I do? You don't know. That's why friendly fire happens so often. There's a famous story. I can't remember exactly what it was. There's probably tons of these stories. An American unit in Vietnam was being surrounded and they're being shelled, and they had to get word out because they were being shelled by Americans because the Americans didn't realize that other Americans were there. These things kind of happen. These kind of things happen a lot.
And that's like when you're shooting at someone that you don't realize. Then there's things where like you just got dudes walking in front of your tank and you don't know they're in front of you.
I think that was Hamburger Mountain. That incident happened in Vietnam that you were describing.
Yeah,
but
I
no. Information is the first casualty of war. So people, you're right, Ian, won't know what's going on, and more importantly, they'll be given disinformation to make them believe that the opposite is true. So whatever kind of conflict is unfolding, you might be thinking you're doing the right thing, but you could have been fed information that was totally not true at all.
People get a radio broadcast that sounds like Joe Biden, but it's a deep fake given by the enemy. Like that kind of stuff.
This is why. So I recently been watching Dr. Stone, and this is why I love it so much. One of the points of the show, the main character is like, we're gonna build the most powerful weapon known to man. Communications. And I was just like, yes. I'm like, that is so amazing. I love that, because the immediate assumption when you say you're at war and you're like, what's the most powerful weapon someone could have? And they're like, I don't know, nuke. No, a radio. The ability to coordinate in real time at the speed of light. Thank you.
I was thinking this 2 nights ago about
Hamburger Hill, not
radio.
Hamburger Mountain. I just want to clarify.
Okay, I was wrong about that. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ian.
The radio. Radio is like the most powerful technology on earth. I mean, it is.
What was the Japanese woman that used to broadcast during World War II? Rose?
I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up.
I don't know.
Dude, the radio changed everything.
I was like, in reading about Civil War battles and
TV
stuff.
killed it though.
and American Revolutionary War fights. It's like, that's why they had trumpets.
Tokyo Rose.
Tokyo Rose. There you go.
The reason why they had drums, the reason why they had trumpets, it was battlefield communications. You knew certain sounds meant certain moves. But now you have radio.
Yeah, instantaneous long-range communication. Radio like altered reality and such broadcast towering. Like it just things after 04 or whenever Tesla popped that in, and there were other people working on it too. There's an Italian guy working on it.
Yeah, but TV killed the radio.
It definitely is better, but radio is like the basic function, like it's the basic groundbreaking communication tech that altered reality in such a way, and it still will. Like if power goes out, we have like shortwave radio. We can bounce it off the
ham radio.
Yeah, you can connect around the world with it.
What is ham? High altitude?
I don't know, but it works.
Let's find out.
Yeah, crazy.
And you know what? I want to tell you, Tim, about Civilization, the game. When you develop that technology in the game, Sid Meier had it right. It changes everything. You get the broadcast tower, and you get battleships, the ability to communicate with your ships across the ocean. Like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
You just cannot compete with real-time communication.
Yeah, I like 10 guys with the same weapons as 100 guys could win if they're communicating in real time at the speed of light. Like, I mean, like instant communication as those standing next to each other, because you can coordinate so much faster. It's ridiculous. That metric I just made up. I'm just saying hypothetically, communications gives you such a tremendous advantage over your opponent who can't coordinate. You're running circles around them.
Well, it's the main weapon in fifth generational warfare, and a lot of people argue, a lot of the posts, a lot of the social media, a lot of just the videos and the audio and the article, they're a lot more powerful than bullets and bombs.
Yep.
And I
the
think
pen is lighter than the sword.
The argument is absolutely true, especially what we're seeing now with the big attacks against Rumble, the attacks against Twitter, the attacks against anyone willing to stand up for free speech, which I think is absolutely crucial towards anti-war principles that need to be promoted more than ever. Those principles are only promoted on free speech platforms. Meanwhile, the other platforms just promote war, conflict, bloodshed, and chaos.
I think the reason communication tech is the most powerful war technology is because people don't want to fight. They want to end the conflict as fast as possible, so they're waiting for orders to figure out how to do it. And if you get the wrong orders, you're going to do what you got to do to end the conflict. If you do the wrong thing, like that, that's the most devastating outcome. I didn't think, I just now, that's pretty deep, dude. People they want to end the, it's just like, same with when if you're being attacked at night, it's not about what do you do if you're being attacked. It's not like kill. It's like stop the threat. That is what it is. Right. Get as far away from it or whatever.
Let's jump to this story from Newsweek. Elon Musk's mom rushes to his defense. She is furious with Joe Biden. Well, the real story is that Joe Biden is targeting Elon Musk. The deep state is targeting Elon Musk. And now Elon's mom is calling out Joe Biden, saying, I am the mother of Elon Musk. His goal is to make this world a better place. POTUS wants to stop him. Have you any idea how furious I am? People in other countries are proud of Elon and do not understand the U.S. president's motive. Please tell me how I should answer them.
That's the best mom tweet ever.
President Biden stood at the White House podium and stated Elon Musk is worth being looked at. When asked how, he said there's lots of ways. There certainly are. The DOJ, FAA, FTC, NLRB, SDNY, and FWS have all taken action. The FCC now joins them. It is obvious that the federal government is illegally and unconstitutionally targeting Elon Musk over his political actions.
Who is Brendan Carr, FCC? Who is that?
I don't know if he's the former. Let me pull him up. He might be the head of the FCC. He is the commissioner for the FCC. Yeah.
What the hell?
And he's been calling out the FCC quite a bit for the actions they've been taking.
And he's announcing the FCC now joins them.
Yep.
Wow.
That's an incredible threat.
Yeah. No, that's huge. That's major. And it's business when your mom goes on social media and tries to protect you and scold the people attacking you.
But that's incredible thuggery from our government. We are full on Soviet style.
He writes, I dissent.
Authoritarians. Oh, he does, right. He is dissent. Okay, good.
He says the FCC adds itself to the growing list of federal agencies engaging in the regulatory harassment of Elon Musk. I dissent.
Good for him.
Yo, man.
But now he says the FCC is going to be investigating them.
And he says he's dissenting to it. This guy's called out the Biden.
One of however many on the board or whatever it is.
Or whatever it might be. But, they're going after Elon, man.
Absolutely.
And this is why Elon's going to double down. They've declared war on a guy with means. Yeah. Why is Alex Jones back? Because they kept... Look, Elon didn't want to bring Alex Jones back. Because he didn't want to lose advertisers. Advertisers pull out, and he goes, "Screw it."
There is
Alex, you're back.
nothing more dangerous than a man with nothing left to lose. I'm not saying Elon Musk has nothing left to lose, but he had nothing left to lose when it came to advertising.
I suppose it's fair to say there's nothing more dangerous than the wealthiest man on the planet with nothing left to lose.
Yes. That's the ultimate version of that for sure.
Or who doesn't fear
Fears
loss.
no loss.
This
Yeah.
is so crazy, man. The United States government, I think, has, I'm going to say it's just such a dumb, obvious thing, hubris. Like, it's not that powerful. I know it is probably the most powerful government on earth, but it's one of so many powerful governments. It's like, you can't win everything. You try and defend our Venezuela as well as the Ukraine, as well as Israel. Now you want to go after your richest citizen. Like, what the hell are you doing to yourself? I want it to be good. I want it to be a force of good on earth.
I think Elon is also...
we're a little ways off of being the force of good on earth.
What kind of drugs are you smoking if you think government
He said
can
he
be good?
wants.
All
He
right,
said he
government
wants
can't
it
be
to.
good.
That's
Government
different. He
has
wants
never
it.
been good. It's always horrible.
people
It's
are
always
good.
bad. But I think Elon is banking on a major election shift.
Yeah.
Because if let's just say a Republican gets into the executive office, he's going to make sure all of these investigations go away. But if Joe Biden is elected, these investigations will continue, and they will try to topple and destroy the only platform that allows people to talk freely to each other and expose the psyops as the psyops happen. Twitter is the place you go to get on the ground breaking news coverage of events that happen now. And what better way to call out the next psyop, the next kind of major event, the next big Pearl Harbor-like event, then of course be on social media and you see it called out right there in real time. So I think he's understanding that there is going to be a big political shift. He's banking on the Republicans. The Republicans probably will win, and then he's going to be saved by them.
Because there is still a lot of fear of, Apple could come in and kill off Twitter X as an app. And that is a major, major issue. For
Google can too.
And absolutely, all of these things. And that's where it
Functionally.
was too big to fail, quote unquote. And correct.
Functionally, but Apple would never do it because people would ditch their iPhones.
A lot of people would.
That's
You
the
would.
point.
I mean, we still can't get Republicans to vote in primaries. So I don't know how far they're willing to go to fight for things.
This
but I agree
one-
with you
this one-
to a percentage of them.
Because screen time for X is so
It's
high.
huge, yeah.
It's not a question of I'm going to take a stand. It's a question of, oh man, what did they say? I got to get a different phone.
Yeah.
It's not even a
or
question.
they'll just use the web version or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
If Apple removed
it'll
X
hurt traffic.
and you could, it would, but a lot of people would be like,
Yeah.
yo, I'm on this app 24/7. WTF, mate?
Yeah. I'd ruin my life. I'm going to watch it all day long on Twitter just to teach the government a lesson or Apple.
This is why they made Threads. They were hoping people would switch, but they will not.
no one cared.
Well, this is why there's even talks of Elon creating his own phone. And if he does, then of course when Apple
But then it's
bans
networks.
him, everyone's going to go there.
But then it's networks. What networks are those phones going to operate on?
T-Mobile,
Verizon.
probably. T-Mobile works with everybody. They're like, screw it, Cricket. Like let's make it happen.
Yeah, and
Starlink.
Yeah, but Cricket's
but
off
he
of
but he
someone
has
else's.
Starlink
now
too,
we're
so
talking.
he could merge his phone with Starlink.
He can't now, but if he could, that would be the ultimate. That would
Exactly.
give us true.
That's where we're headed.
I
would be
think
incredible.
I think Starlink would have the capabilities of. I'd imagine a phone could get a megabit per second through Starlink, low orbit. I mean, the Starlink.
He'd have to expand it greatly.
No,
the Starlink network.
No, I don't think so. The current Starlink modules are very small.
No, I'm saying he'd have to expand capacity where they are at throughout the
yeah,
country.
yeah,
He'd have to
yeah.
have more of it up there, is what I'm saying, for it to have connectivity.
I wonder what its
Nationwide.
current load what they could handle. But I'd imagine they could easily get texting, no question.
Yeah.
Starlink could easily handle text messages.
What would the delay? I mean, these are questions I don't expect.
No, it's low
anyone here to
latency.
know.
It's like 35 milliseconds.
Oh, that's good.
That was the point of Starlink.
Yeah.
Satellite phones. That's definitely the future. Terrestrial phones are too vulnerable. These landlines can be just blown up by a meteor strike. I mean, the ones up in orbit, yeah, they're way safer in orbit, I think.
Apple already has a feature where you could connect to a satellite in case of emergencies when you have no cell phone signal. So
You can, and for 10 years plus now, they've had two-way satellite texting devices.
You know, Elon's got that in mind, that he's trying to merge all these things into one X unit, like the starships, the satellites, the phones, the social media. What else? The tunnels are going to be the shape of a
brain
big
chip.
X underground. You're going to go through big X's. No, just kidding.
Big
They'll
X's.
probably be circles.
You saw those videos of the tunnels they
brain
have
chips,
in
yes.
LA?
No, I haven't seen them yet.
You go into a narrow tunnel in your Tesla and it can bypass traffic. And
self drives.
yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Those tiny tunnels, I would not want to get stuck in one of those things.
Are they automate? Like, do they carry your car? Or do you just have to drive?
Your
through
car
them?
drives itself through 'em.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
Actually, it's like a little sled thing. His like final product is a sled thing. You drive the car onto the sled thing, and then that automates the whole process. So it's all running on its own rails. You don't have to worry about driving.
I would not want to go on one of those
Yeah,
tunnels.
yeah, neither would I.
But if you live in LA and you have to face traffic, you might want to. Traffic in LA is nuts, dude. One day I spent 3 hours in traffic going like 10 miles or 17 miles.
What's the fear of going in the tunnel? You're going to get stuck in the middle of it, or is that little thing's just going to shoot you
You're
right
stuck in
out
the
the
middle
other
of it.
side? Yeah, for a long time. Huh?
Yeah.
That'd be rough.
Real rough. What's their ventilation in that thing? I don't even know. I don't even like the tunnel, like the Lincoln Tunnel. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm worried about it. I drove through it hundreds of times. I'm just like those long, super narrow, compressed tunnels. I don't know about that.
I was talking to someone about this with building skyscrapers. We're going to come a time there. We have a crisis of competency coming. We're already kind of there, but we're really going to be there in 20 to 30 years, a crisis of competency. And I worry about the people building skyscrapers today. What's going to happen to those skyscrapers in 30 or 40 years?
Yeah.
Because go meet the average person that's doing things anywhere in America these days. And it's going to give me concern about being on the 100th floor of a building built by these people.
You can look at China today right now and see that happening in real time and see the buildings that are falling because people were skirting around these little like building codes, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and maybe
They just don't care about a loss of life over there. It's a little different, but I think it's like more of a they have probably, or they do have more competency when it comes to engineering and those kind of things than we have. And I think
maybe
they do. I think in 30 years from now.
Yeah.
So just to go back to the topic here, I think there's a race to destroy Elon Musk. Will the Democrats be able to do it during this election cycle? Will they be successful? Can they stop him? Can they stop Twitter? What do you guys think?
No. And at this pace, Trump's going to get elected, and then he's going to say, thank you, Elon, and Elon's going to reap the rewards.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to say, all these investigations? What investigations?
Yep.
And rightfully so, because he's being targeted, he's being attacked. But I think Elon is playing also a different kind of gambit as well when it comes to the defense contractors, when it comes to the carbon emissions, when it comes to all the ties that he has to the military-industrial complex and to the defensive capabilities that he's giving Ukraine and Israel and the United States in the Antarctica right now. So I believe that's one of the reasons why he is still not officially kind of taken out, officially stopped, because the Pentagon needs him.
Someone needs to
they're
ask.
screwed.
Someone needs to ask Elon about Werner von Braun's book.
What's the book called?
What is it, like Mars Colony or something? I don't remember. But it's where the colony of Mars, the government has the person in charge is called Elon,
Oh yeah.
and it was written in 1948 before he was born.
That's wild. I wonder if May knew that and named Elon and then told him like, you'll do a colony.
That's what
on
I was
Mars.
saying. Like, you must colonize Mars, and he was like, yes, mother.
Like they told Jesus, your father is God. And he was like, oh, really? Okay.
Well, I think he ran off for a little while.
Yeah, he went
When he was
out.
14, true story.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Allegedly. True
He
story.
just bounced out. I wonder if Joseph gave him his blessing. Oh, Elon? Are you talking about Elon or Jesus?
No, we're talking about Jesus, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of pissed at him when he got back. And he was like, I was just doing my work.
Like, hey, man, sometimes the forest calls you.
Yeah.
You just got to go east.
Well, he's actually hanging out with villagers, but
Yeah.
That's
I don't know why
awesome.
not.
That's
Being
like
chills.
Siddhartha. He just disappeared from his life as a prince and went and hang out with the commoners for a long time. Then he became the Buddha later in life.
yeah.
I want to know this. Okay, we're colonizing Mars. How are we going to do it? Is it going to be a corporatocracy? Is
Yes.
that where this whole world is headed? Is corporatocracy like our corporations?
So that's why the fascinating thing about Werner von Braun's book, we were talking about it last week, is that he says the person in charge is called the Elon. And I'm like, imagine what happens with SpaceX's Mars colonization project. Elon Musk is the boss. He's in charge. He controls the finances and the resources. So when people are on Mars, they're going to say, hey, what are we doing with this new shipment of cargo? Ask Elon. And they say, okay, Elon's going to get older and older and older. Eventually, he's going to say, I'm too old to keep doing this. And then he's going to pass on. And some guy's going to be like, Elon passed. Who's in charge now? Well, the next guy we have is Bill. Now, we need someone who's going to be the next Elon Musk. Who's going to be our Elon Musk? And someone's going to be like, I think Rick would be a good Elon. And that's how Elon turns from a name into a title.
Or it could be an AI that we call Elon that we just kind of as a thanks to
I don't
Elon
want to
for
have to
everything he
live
did.
on Mars. It just seems I don't like
Even
the
in
idea.
tunnels?
You don't have to.
Yeah, no.
But people who are born
agreed.
there are going to love it.
You think they're gonna love it?
Yeah.
In their little tunnels, like he's talking about.
Yes.
Ugh.
Because it's all they'll know.
Yeah. that obviously has a huge impact.
Maybe
I'm more of a beach kind of guy, to be honest. I hope we can
but
just
they'll
kinda
have
keep things cool here.
subterranean
Beaches?
domes. Yeah, there's nuclear silos you can live in that have fake beaches. Yep. It's crazy.
Yeah. Mars
it's
has
like
like
a big cylindrical thing with like 16 floors, and one of the floors has like this big curved fake beach.
Okay.
Mar-
Have
and there's
the
like
sun, like a good
fake
fake
sun,
Can I
yeah.
get tan at this fake sun?
No.
Oh, damn.
Mars has like flood striations on the surface all over the planet. Not all, literally all.
The
but
gravitation is too weak though, so it struggles to maintain an atmosphere.
yeah, the core is still liquid. It's just got an outer layer of, I think, nickel that's blocking the magnetic field right now. It's messing with the field. It's like 2020 Science article about it.
I think we should nuke the moon to alter its trajectory so that over the span of several decades, it crashes into Mars.
My guess is, the Marianas, oh God, what is that big trench on Mars? Mars giant trench. It's just a tear in the surface of the Mars trench tear. It's the biggest chasm on Mars, and it's like Valles Marineris. It looks like a scar, like something hit that planet, it ripped it open, and then magma just came out of it and just spewed all into the atmosphere. All the water, just the giant global flood catastrophe, and then it just evaporated, and then the iron oxide in the magma fell back down to the surface as dust, and now it's coated the surface as this red iron rust, and underneath it is all this ice. And so if we can heat it up rapidly, I got faith that it'll come back to life. Elon
Is
said,
graphene going to play a role?
absolutely. Elon said to nuke the poles, which I thought was an interesting concept.
But my understanding is the problem is the atmosphere is too thin, gravity is too weak to maintain it, so even nuking the poles would not
You
solve
could
the problem.
fire lasers at it, just heat it up with like electro lasers.
What about like a graphene superstructure surrounding Mars to create an artificial atmosphere,
like a cyber dome?
but surrounding the whole planet?
Yeah, it'd be a lattice network,
Right.
with like magnetic fields and stuff like
Yep.
that, and then redirecting heat. Like you could hit lasers into that, and then have it maybe just. Oh yeah, you could create potentially a
That's right. That's the future.
suitable habitat.
And it's like a stage 0.01 Dyson sphere.
Okay. Yeah, once you have drone construction, swarm construction, you'll have like 100 million drones all working in synergy, building these horrifically large structures in space, because gravity is not and space isn't, it doesn't matter how big it is. You just have 300 trillion drones working together to construct it really quick. And then you can put these little arms and like laser cutters and stuff, and they'll be moving things into position.
Yeah, the future's going to be wild.
Yeah. I just want to make sure we're all here to see it.
It's going to be exactly
Well,
like,
are you eating steak
Idiocracy.
and lifting weights? Because that's going to be the key to your longevity.
Okay. I lifted weights today.
I love it. See?
You'll be around for it. I did arms, I did shoulders and pecs and biceps 2 days in a row, which might have been a mistake, but I just
No,
like doing that.
yeah.
I like those. What do you?
A couple
You gotta
years ago,
skip a day. You got to recover.
I didn't want to.
hold on. A couple years ago, everyone thought we were going to have flying cars. We have children that are eating Tide Pods. Do you really think the future's bright? Do you really think there's going to be like some kind of we have all this? We can't even mention here on this broadcast.
Yeah, we'll talk
all
about it on the
this-
members only.
Yeah,
I do think it's going to be bright, but it's like a birth. Like we're giving birth to the next evolution of the species, and before birth, there's a contraction. And I feel like
What
we're
about
about
pain?
if we're not going through the contraction right now, we're going to. And I don't want that to be a nuclear war. I want it to be some kind of like, at least like, I just don't want it to be a mass die-off, man. We got to be able to do something to preserve these people.
Well, the mass die-off is happening now. The population,
called obesity.
The population is declining, and IQs are going down too. So there's
Yes.
that.
All right, everybody, we're going to go to Super Chats. So if you haven't already, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends, head over to timcast.com, click join us if you want to hang out for the uncensored members only show that's coming up at 10 p.m. But also head over to thebestsongever.com. Pre-order our collective FU to the music industry. We teamed up with the Daily Wire covering Jeremy Boring and Michael Knowles' song Together Again. Their song was an FU to the music industry. Our song is basically a mockery of the music industry. And I think the song is good, but when you pre-order the song, we're going crazy. Guess what? You pre-order at thebestsongever.com and you will receive a code. I believe you'll get it on the 15th with the song. You'll get 35% off your castbrew.com purchases. So if you want coffee, for 69 cents you buy the song, you'll get a unique promo code that gives you 35% off. And if you subscribe with that code, you will get 35% off your subscription indefinitely. See, so for those that want to get the coffee club, it's $40 a month. Use this promo code. You will get 35% off your membership forever.
And I know he's selling you on the code, but the song itself is worth 69 cents. Song's amazing.
How did the 69 number come in?
It's
just a pure coincidence.
So it was originally 99 cents.
Okay.
And there were people who were like, well, we think we could sell more of our new releases from lesser known artists if it was cheaper. Then there were some other artists who were like, we're super famous. We could sell it for whatever we want. So they do 129, 99, and 69. We sell for 69 because we want the sales. We're less like we're in that argument of like, hey, we're not an established large band. We're trying to sell as many as possible. Let's make it as cheap as possible for people to buy.
I think you can also spend as much as you want.
No, you can buy one song.
You can't spend more. You can spend more.
You can choose to give more.
Yeah,
if you want,
to support the company.
Right. I thought you might be saying you can buy more than one. No. So it's like pay what you will. You can give more than 69 cents if you want. Here's what we want to do. I think if we sell around 50,000 songs, we will be on the Billboard Hot 100 with our, music industry mockery, and that would be like the main goal. If we sell 500,000, Michael Knowles, Jeremy Boring, Tim Pool, and Carter Banks will all get a gold record. I don't know.
Devastating to the music industry. Absolutely devastating. I want to be a part of that devastation.
Look, we wrote songs, and it's just music. Not everybody likes every band. It's fine. You don't have to like our music. But when they emailed us saying go F yourselves, I was just like, I get it. The way the music industry is working right now is they are trying to remove the capability of new bands from entering without their approval.
I just talked with Dickie Barrett about it. It's been like this since the 80s. It's been like this all along.
You have to bend the knee and kiss the pinky ring if you want access. And now that we're building networks outside of their control, they're getting angry and telling us to F off.
It used to be who decided what got played on the radio.
Our first song, they didn't even track like 1 million of the plays. They went, oops, sorry, too bad. And that knocked us down. We ended up being like number one in like digital sales, and we charted on a bunch of different like rock and alternative charts. And we would have probably been number one in a lot of different charts, but they accidentally said, "Oh man, this one didn't count." And then we had to raise a stink about it. Talk to Tom McDonald. He's talked a lot about how they've just rejected his sales because they're desperately trying to prevent anybody from getting into their space without their say-so. So I don't think we're going to sell 500,000 of these things. But I believe the Daily Wire is going to help in pushing as well. But it would be the greatest thing ever to have a gold record.
Yeah, it would.
We should put it in a movie, in a Daily Wire movie.
I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Jeremy and Michael Knowles are in the video. We put the commercial up at Timcast Music on YouTube, and you can see they de-aged themselves and made a fake video from the 60s. It's fun. We're going to have fun. But let's read some super chats first. All right. Token Black Guy says, first, congratulations. You are first. Tom Forsyth says being first is for losers. Clever. Cleverly done, because you are second, in fact.
That was a risk.
Token then asks, hey, Tim, longtime listener, any future plans to come down south possibly? I'm a Louisiana native, and you have a lot of followers down here. Maybe we can find a time to do a show in Nolens.
Yeah, I've never been. I've
never
never
been
been
either.
before. I'd love to go.
It'd be fun.
You go there? You're from the south.
I've actually never been down there. A little too dark for me.
Now's
I
the
feel like.
time.
Yeah.
Mardi Gras. I did Mardi Gras in St. Louis once.
James G says,
about
Seth,
it.
any updates on the Trump cans of your beer? Not upset about any delays, just curious as to the new time frame for them to ship.
Yeah, so the Trump beer, we ended up selling a lot more of that than we originally expected, which is a good thing.
Like millions of dollars, right?
Yes, I think around 2 on the Trump beer. Yeah, a little insane. So a little unexpected, but that is a great thing. We appreciate people being patient. So those have started going out. It's in order of people who ordered. It was originally a 45 day delay from the order to when it gets shipped. That has been extended. Check your spam. So Big Tech does not like us very much. So we've sent out updates on this to people who have ordered the Trump beer. And for whatever magical reason, our order updates go to spam, which is not how that's supposed to work. So please do that and be patient. It is on the way.
Right on. Raymond G. Stanley Jr. says, Tim, I watched Crowder's barbershop video. It got me thinking about the need for and importance of community. I love that that's the end goal for all these spots we're putting together. Shout out, my guy. Right on. That's the point. We want to do the Cast Brew coffee shops so that y'all are meeting up and hanging out in person. A space where you can hang out, talk about things, have the debates, have the conversations, play board games, whatever it may be. We want to. This is the game plan, man. Why are we doing this music? Why are we doing coffee? Imagine, as I've said it a million times, and for those that don't know, you walk into a coffee shop. They got 2 TVs on the walls, left and right, and as you're waiting for your coffee, it's Steven Crowder playing. It's Daily Wire. It's Timcast. It's Viva Fry. It's Stick, Sex, and Hammer. And regular people who are not listening to the accurate reports and commentary will one day be like, oh, this is pretty good. Who is this? And they're gonna be like, oh, that's Steven Crowder. And they're gonna go, oh yeah, never heard of him. New subscriber. And the idea is to have like 1,000 locations. So we want to just start popping these coffee shops up all over the place where people can hang out. And also regular people will be exposed to our media.
It'd be interesting if on the screen while people are playing, there's a barcode that you can scan to go to the subscription page on there.
We could put a QR code. I mean, everybody makes fun of CNN because they were the airport news network. Yeah. But think about how powerful that was for them. They were everywhere, hotel lobbies. I want to take that. So you'll have a strip mall with a Walmart in it, and there will be a small Cash Brew standalone in the middle, and people will be like, I just want coffee. I don't know anything about it. Oh, coffee? Sure. They walk in, and then you've got Timcast IRL playing. Or you've got Stick, Sex, and Hammer talking.
Also, you can Bluetooth into the monitors, and they're all silent, but you can...
No, we'll play the sound.
Too, because if there's like 8 different shows playing...
It's not 8 different shows. It's one show at a time.
Okay.
So there will be 5 TVs all playing the same episode of Loud with Crowder. Yep. And then regular people will be like sipping their coffee and they'll be staring at them, how about that?
I was thinking about directed sound technology. I don't know if you can have like...
Yes.
That's cool.
So there could be like a seating area where if you sit down, you hear everything really well. And if you get up, it gets a little fuzzier as you walk away.
Because then you could have like...
Relatively easy to do. Yeah, you can do like sound cancellation. It's expensive to engineer that stuff. Yeah. All right. Master Mullet says, great culture war episode last Friday. Eschatology is fascinating, but accepting Jesus as your savior is the most important thing. Anyways, help remove a tumor from my dog's mouth. Go fund me Sammy Boy's dental surgery. Good luck, sir. Good luck to Sammy.
Much love to your dog, brother. Or Sammy's the dog.
Jacob Parody says, not that I didn't trust you in the first place, Tim, but yesterday when PBD said there's going to be a cyber attack, my need to prep heightened. Yeah, that's a part of that movie, Leave the World Behind, the Obama.
That's what they were discussing, yeah.
There's like a guy in it as a prepper, and they're like, we need to go to the prepper and take his stuff. I got to tell you, man, if you are prepping and anybody knows you're prepping, when it all hits the fan, you're the mark. So, good luck.
Everyone's like, I'm coming to your house.
And you think they're joking, they're not.
Yeah, they're not joking.
What is prepping? I know nothing of this.
What?
Yeah, me neither.
Right.
You don't know about spirit cooking? You don't know about prepping? What is this? Conservative dad? Conservative, you gotta get down the rabbit hole. What are you doing, bro?
He just doesn't know anything about it.
I've lost all my guns.
Do you know what the Bohemian Grove is?
Look, all my guns were lost
Bilderberg Group.
in a boating accident, and I don't know what prepping is. Stay away. That's all I know.
Say, Ursavite says, you keep saying Texas didn't want to secede, but was forced to because of geography. Wrong. Texas booted Sam Houston from office because he was opposed to secession. Texas wanted it. Texas was just as angry. Well, I'll clarify. I'm not saying they didn't want to secede. They were forced to. I'm saying geography was a principal reason for why they wanted to secede. The Confederacy was next to them. That were their trade partners in the immediate. And they said, this makes the most sense. There you go. I think that was part of Ulysses S. Grant wrote about that. The Emperor's Champion says, I say offer Bud Light clemency, and the moment they do something woke and stupid, boycott them and show these companies what happens when they get woke. Busy says, your thoughts on Matt Walsh's take on your Bud Light stance. Also, have you read the Jaff memo in regards to ways to control population? Seems like it's all come to pass. I have not. And we did address the Matt Walsh segment. I do think what my perspective is based on owning a business and doing marketing and having done marketing consistently for 15 some odd years or longer. And what I see with Bud Light is there's going to come a point where they say, this market is closed to us. How can we increase sales? And they're going to target other political market spaces. If conservatives say there's nothing you can ever do to win us back, they'll say, fine, then we'll try to win some other people over who are more susceptible. That could result in them saying...
I think they just drop it and they give the money to Corona.
Possibly. And then Corona sponsors a bunch of Pride events too.
They already do.
I know. And so the extra money that Bud Light could be spending on UFC will go to Pride events.
They're not going to... Look, that was a token offering to say, hey, dumb conservatives, we think you're stupid, so we're going to give it to what we see as your redneck god, Dana White, and Kid Rock, and you'll be happy forever because you're all retarded. They're saying it to everyone. But they already sponsor and do those kinds. They've been sponsoring boxing for years,
right?
So I don't think it was a whole new market for them, really. They just did it. They made a big deal out of it because it was Dana White, who's not even a Republican, by the way.
Right. So the issue is either the Bud Light battle is over, it's done, move on, have a nice day, and there's no reason to ever talk about it, or you need to be on the offensive and make statements about Bud Light and keep the pressure up. But that's not happening. Kid Rock said it's over. We gave them a black eye. That's what they deserved. Now it's time to move on. Dana White saying they're the best. Buy their product.
I think it's up to $105 million.
You can move on.
I don't
without-
think that's lost on people though. I hear from people all the time. They're like, "Oh, did you hear he sold out?" Blah blah blah. I still like Dana White, but he sold out. That's what I'm hearing. From
I think people need to boycott UFC.
Yeah, that's been a tough one.
Exactly, and that's why Bud Light did it. Bud Light knows you will not boycott UFC. Luke won't do it.
I like watching.
Look.
Exactly. No,
Hey,
seriously.
Hey,
Unbelievable.
I never said I would. I'm not. I'm admittedly in this.
So you
I'm
seize
like,
the narrative from them, scream in the woke faces, they gave us what we wanted and we win, or you say, I boycott UFC.
I'll
You will not trick me.
point out how Dana looked like a goofball, laughing and smiling and telling people to drink gallons
seems
of
fake.
alcohol. I'm like, what?
For sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
super fake.
But the fact that people won't boycott UFC, and I got to tell you, this show does not have the influence to even consider that, right? Anybody watching this show can comment and say whatever they want about the boycott. By all means, please do so. But y'all know UFC will never be boycotted, and people will make up excuses for why they shouldn't have to boycott UFC. They're going to say, "Oh, it's a false equivalence. I mean, UFC isn't doing the same thing." Aligning with a foreign corporation that pushed trans ideology on children, you're saying UFC is in the clear? Okay, have a nice day. I don't know.
No, I agree in that sense. Like, look, you can't even get Republicans to vote in Republican primaries.
Yeah.
Scott Pressler can.
He's done an incredible job, which is why we teamed up with him.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So our next Ultra Right beer can actually has a QR code. When you scan it, it's going to go to Scott Pressler's organization to register people to vote.
That guy's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he crushes it.
All right, let's grab some more super chats. What have we here? Let's see. What do we have here? Vosh says, bro, I hope it all works out and dude is legit, but you drank something that someone handed you out of the back of their van unsolicited. Did it say free candy on the side? Wait.
It said puppies.
It did.
The THC number
So
is high on
the
that,
dude
though.
from Zenjoy was actually, I believe, doing a delivery to a local market, and he was talking with the owners about the product drop off, and he was like, "Yeah, I've got some if you want it."
Did he know you guys beforehand? Oh, cool.
Yeah, he recognized me and was like, "Oh man, would you try some?"
I'll
of my
be
product?"
honest, that
He was-
stuff's delicious and I want another one.
There's a big case.
Should I not drink too many of them? Is that okay? Luke, you're the ashwagandha
I have
guy.
the lavender one.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
taking a break from ashwagandha.
like in
People
just
should take breaks.
like a month at a time kind of thing.
No, longer than that. Like take a break for like 6 months to a year.
This one is it's also got the lemon balm.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about a dude who was dropping off product to a store, and then I took some of a case of the product that he was bringing to the store.
That would have been pretty well planned if this was the moment to take out the Timcast.
Oh, I like the
But,
honey.
yeah.
They use honey too. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
It goes
tea.
good in the Spindrift, which is also a drink that I like.
I just respect the hustle, man.
I mix them
Zenjoy
together.
is his drink, and dude was working really hard, working on the back of his van. That's the American spirit.
I'll tell you the alchemy of this. If you have Spindrift or some other delicious sparkling water with real fruit juice and you add another drink to it, like a kombucha or perhaps a Zenjoy, it's a nice
But
experience.
he said, and this is what got me. He was like, he wanted to help first responders, firefighters, police officers relax because he knows it's a very stressful job, and he goes and he gives them out to them for free. And then I was like, oh, you sold me. Easy. Definitely. We'll shout you out. That's awesome. Thank you. Cool stuff.
Banging.
But really, all that matters, the dude was on the hustle, man. He was working hard. He's an entrepreneur.
We should order like 100 of these or something.
Definitely, we should order a bunch. Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll order a bunch of them. They're good. Yeah. But I think Luke was saying, be careful with the ashwagandha. You can't do too much.
Okay.
Yeah, just do it.
That makes me want to do it. Now I'm going to look into this more. I'm like,
Yeah, what it
you have to check
They,
it out.
they sell gummies. You can buy at the store. It's just like an herb.
It's in a lot of supplements, so you just want to make sure you're not consistently taking it more than a month. Some doctors, mainline professionals say 3
I'm
months.
gonna take
I
it.
say 1 month just to be safe.
I'm
But you're not a
take it
medical
6.
professional, so it's just
All right. We got an
months.
important one here.
Advice.
Dylan Vestasian says, what's the carb content of ultra right beer?
I don't want to get this wrong. 135, I believe.
Carbs?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I was like,
thinking
damn.
calories. I'm thinking
That's like
calories. Sorry.
survival
No,
food, dude.
Calm down. Everyone, stop that. No, it's talking calories here. So it is not a light beer, by the way. It's a full lager, but it's a light full lager.
Yeah.
And I should have the carbs in front of me. I'd have to dig through my email to find that. We've had a little.
It's probably like
study
17
on
or
that.
something. I don't know.
I don't remember exactly what it is. I'm not gonna say something wrong. People are losing their minds.
Is there
hearing
any
this right now.
fluoride in there? Most beers have a lot of fluoride.
No.
Uh-oh. Are you sure about that?
Are you
The
sure?
water comes out of Florida. You're gonna have to talk to Ron DeSantis about
Is
that.
it tap water?
No, but okay, so it's heated and boiled to a point where he's gonna
It's distilled water.
He's
I don't
gonna
think
have a
it'll be
problem
enough.
with any freaking thing I say
I'm
about
taking
it.
notes
I
right
can
now.
tell. I can
Ultralight,
tell.
organic filters.
Okay.
It's distilled water.
It's I guess that would be considered, if it's heated and boiled, does that make it distilled?
I believe so.
No,
Is that-
distilled is if it
distilled?
boils and then recondenses. If it
Right.
just boils it, you'll kill some bacteria and
Oh,
stuff,
I
but it
see what
doesn't
you're
really, it won't remove fluoride. You need like silver filters to get fluoride out of the water.
No, reverse
Silver
osmosis.
filters?
Stuff like that.
osmosis.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Reverse osmosis.
Yep.
It's not easy, but it's pretty cool.
It
You
might
could sell
be-
like an unfluoridated
listen,
version for
past-
Maybe
three
we
times
could
the
work
price or
on
something.
some kind of like health alternative together.
I'm actually open to this. So there's some things that we are working on that I can't say right now on air, but I will talk to you about.
Maybe we
after.
could do some. I have a good idea. I know what I want to do.
Let's talk about it off air. Let's talk about it off air.
It's something healthy
But
that
I
I
think
take.
we would agree on
yeah,
this.
yeah. So let's partner. Maybe
Yes,
let's do
let's
something.
talk about this off air.
Ultra right bone marrow beer juice with
I'm not saying
purified-
anything.
Beef liver smoothie, baby.
20
Let's
grams of
do it.
protein
Hey,
per drink.
R1,
Beef.
R1 had a beef liver smoothie. It was incredible. It was really, really, really good.
Liver, I
they
find
discontinued it.
disgusting.
The
do
liver
supplements.
smoothie at R1.
Yeah, that's the only way.
they partnered with Paul Saladino. Really good.
I like Paul Saladino a lot.
Let's talk about it. Let's do
Yeah.
the Luke Gradowski beef liver smoothie.
If you get
All right.
Luke's face on a can, dude, I'm so in.
Faust,
My nose won't fit.
Yeah, it'll wrap
my
around
nose.
the side.
Faust says, just bought $70 sample of packs from Zenjoy to bring to work. GG, this product is for the boys. Boys.
It's really good. The lavender, you can really taste the lavender. It's spectacular.
Lavender is not good for your testosterone.
Well, I'm just having a little bit.
Doc
I like it in
Holliday
the shower.
says,
All that work in the gym.
Doc Holliday says, 1 year ago, Luke said he will never vote for Trump.
I don't think I said that.
Let him live. It's okay.
I think we should be critical. I think we should hold everyone's feet to the fire. I don't know exactly what I said. Please show me what I said, and
Cain
then I'll
Abel.
be more able to, of course, react to it. But everyone deserves to be criticized.
Cain
was
Abel,
drunk in
let's read this.
ashwagandha when
Cain
he
Abel
said
says,
it.
Luke, who did you vote for in 2020?
Trump.
You voted for Trump in 2020? Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, what are people talking about?
Yeah.
There you go.
Doc Holliday says, $20 for Tim calling Luke out and exposing his Trump derangement syndrome.
Voted for Trump.
He said he voted for
I
Trump.
voted for Trump. That's fine. So,
J-Rob says, Tim, did you happen to see the video of the former FBI agent warning Vivek to be very careful, implying that someone might try to off him? I saw it. You know, I don't know. What are you supposed to think about that? Right?
What was it? A video of the actual
It's
FBI
a guy
agent?
who met him and was like, be careful because, you know,
That's reasonable for anybody running for president.
dark days. I'd
Yeah.
like to know the scenario the movie came up with that Texas and California would be united.
that's how they get you to watch the movie.
Right.
Right?
It's
smart.
Yep.
No, that's how Tim gets you to watch the movie. He's the secret executive
He's been the
producer.
salesman all along.
Yeah.
Like it takes people to speak
Genius.
up, like Vivek and Elon. It takes people to speak up, but it takes people to build the systems quietly as well. Because if you're always just pushing people up into the front of the line, like those are the most vulnerable as well as the bravest. So there's a lot of engineers and things that are building decentralized systems that can back up the wants of these people for freedom.
All right. William H. says, pre-ordered on iTunes and Amazon. Usually wouldn't do that, but I wanted to inflate that middle finger to the music industry. Cheers, fellas. Yeah, so just to quickly reiterate again, the original idea was a song called Is This What You Want? And it was supposed to serve as this like cheesy song where it's like, is this what you want, girl? And it's like just like club synth
Is
pop.
this what you need? Oh, my voice is crazy.
Yeah, just really,
we
really,
should still
really,
record it.
really
It's gonna
bad.
be killer.
And the real point was that the "Is this what you want?" question was the insult to the music industry. Like, is this what you want from us? Is this what we have to do? And so you will stop insulting us. And then when I saw Together Again from the Daily Wire, I was like, no, we're gonna do a modern. It's like in the style of The Weeknd. Like we're basically the whole thing is a parody of Blinding Lights.
Type a 1 in chat if you want to see me, Tim, and Carter do Is This What You Want in the style of Backstreet Boys. Just
Well,
boy band.
no, not Backstreet Boys. That's old school.
You're like, wait a second.
That's old school. Why would I want to do oldies? We want to do more like Post Malone.
Can you do a
Keep
heavy
going, tell
metal
me.
one in the future? I feel like that would
Heavy
go
metal
well.
doesn't have a, so
in the future.
Oh, I mean, sure.
A
Like
different one.
we've got heavier rock songs. A lot of the stuff we were putting out is just like basic rock,
Right.
And they tell us to screw off and go off ourselves. So we're like, let's make modern synth pop as an FU to them, and we'll team up with the Daily Wire with their FU, combine them, and like here's the thing, it's more of an inside joke. The song doesn't directly say FU or anything like that.
It's beautiful.
We're just doing it to get it on the billboard and be like, boom, there you go, in your faces. Like the idea is to make something that charts well enough to where they have no choice but to write about it.
Devastating.
I want somebody, I'm not going to name the news outlets, but a bunch of them told us to F off. Like, quote, go F yourselves. Some of us called us like MAGA chuds and things like this. I want their editor to be like, I need someone to write this up. And they're going to go, no.
They gamed the system.
Yes. And this is why I was like, teaming up with Jeremy Boring and Michael Knowles will be bigger, because how do they reject a story now about all of us?
Yeah.
It's one thing when they're like, screw Tim Pool, we're not going to write this up. It's another thing when they're like, no, Jeremy, we're not going to work with you. Now, all of us have this song. Could you imagine if we got a gold record off it?
Yeah, they'll come from the perspective that you gamed the system. That's what they won't say. No, I understand. It is great.
Yeah.
But that will be their narrative.
If it gets in a movie, does it contribute to the gold record sales? Like,
If they what?
do movie tickets? If it's in a movie, do tickets to the movie count?
They have to buy the song or listen to the song. If you listen to the song one time, that's great. If you buy the song, it's equivalent to 150 plays. That's why purchases are so powerful. And a lot of big artists struggle to get any sales at all. Like the big artists obviously are getting like 200,000 sales on their albums when they release them. But the average artist, even like, look, you name a mid-level band you've heard of that's playing big festivals, even potentially headlining, and they're not getting sales at all.
Yeah.
They're getting put in rotation by labels. The plays that they get, like when you look at the charts, you're like, how did that artist I've never heard of hit the Billboard Hot 100? The label that owns the rights to the music goes to the streaming platforms and says, if you want top artist, you must put lower artist in rotation. Rotation guarantees they'll hit the charts, and that's how people find music. These big industries tell us to screw off, and they will not. I mean, look, we release a song. We're number one on iTunes worldwide. We're number one in digital sales, and we are not appearing anywhere on any of these platforms or stations in terms of their trending or anything. Even on YouTube, they weren't properly categorizing us, and the tracking said our video didn't qualify. It's like, I'll put it this way. Look at Tom McDonald. He's talked about it quite a bit. He puts a song out and gets 5 million hits in a week, and they're like, nope, you don't chart. They're just basically trying to stonewall. I'm like, let's just flick them off and make it undeniable. They cannot win this one. We're going to win this one.
I love that.
Yeah, we got to get it to play globally, overseas. That's where the markets, because these American markets, like, just it's inclusive.
So what happened was, what was that one song that was like on the charts for months? What was it? Sunroof?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was called Sunroof. And that's what we were like, this is it. This is what the industry wants, and we'll put out and we'll go international. So let's make some like club mix garbage. This is what you want. And then just blast it with marketing.
I can see Carter's music
That'll
going
be
hot
next.
in Germany or like France. Like it's definitely
He's not
Europe.
David Hasselhoff.
Not yet. But have you seen his arms, man? He's ripped. Nice
All right.
job, Carter.
Singing Reaper says, instead of Bud Light giving money to UFC, the boycott stops when they donate to the families of the victims of the Nashville shooting who were impacted by the trans ideology that they pushed. Well, there you go. That would just require a coordinated effort. So that would mean right now, instead of just saying we will continue the boycott, it's what's the next move? If the argument, as Ian has pointed out, is that they're fleeing the battlefield, you can't just stand there. Now we have to say, what's phase 2 in the we are mad at Bud Light?
Shoot them in the back as they flee. I don't know. That's probably
Like a
not
route.
the end.
It just depends on what you want to do.
Well, right, but what does that mean? What does that
I
literally
know,
mean?
just
Does it mean making videos about Bud Light? Does it mean demanding Bud Light apologize? Does it mean I don't know. I don't know what it means. Does it mean going to bars and telling them to boycott Bud Light?
It's like, do you want to hurt their sales further, or are you satisfied with this dip so that they don't do it again in the future?
It's a pretty solid dip. I think most people will be satisfied with that long term.
Come April, the sales are going to normalize.
No, the sales are not going to normalize.
No, sales have normalized already.
They've normalized to the new low.
Yes, 7 months ago they did.
I understand, but that's not normalized for what they've been for decades now.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it does. It means
the
less
industry
revenue.
It means every mainstream. It means Ian's mom is going to say, "But the boycott didn't work."
Okay,
and you're the beer guy is going to say, "No,
calling you out, Becky."
No, listen. I am telling you this. I guarantee it because Ian's told us the story over and over again, and I think Ian would agree. When the New York Times, MSNBC, and CNN report Bud Light sales have jumped to plus 2% and their stock is higher than ever, Ian's mom
That's
is
just
gonna,
admitting we're going to admit defeat on every lying narrative that the left-string media sends at us.
No, I'm saying
That's
what's the
literally what
next
that means.
move to counter this?
Is
Ian,
to argue
You're gonna
if
love
no,
my
they're
mom.
still down.
if your mom watched on,
20%.
that doesn't mean anything to Ian's mom.
Well, I don't care about Ian's mom. No offense to your mom.
She's pretty badass.
lovely.
How do you
And she does listen to
I take it
reason,
back.
but
How
I
do you win
care
a
about your
culture
mom.
war if you don't care about regular Americans?
No, I didn't say I didn't care about regular Americans.
regular American
But
is
you're
gonna
telling
see-
me that
watch
all she
CNN.
does is watch CNN and MSNBC.
And so how do we win the narrative? How do we win the culture war? We need to take people who right now, the narrative needs to be indistinguishable, unequivocally. Everyone goes, wow, Bud Light, they're done.
And you think you're going to win the narrative with Sean Strickland or any of these other alternatives?
Bud Light
No.
needs to make a statement. You need either you say right now we won or you double down. There is no do nothing.
But you think we saying we won here at Timcast is somehow going to get dispersed among MSNBC and CNN? They're going to say, well, they won.
Yes.
Timcast claimed it.
Yes, I do.
I feel like
See, the issue is you're acting
no
like
way.
I'm the only one saying it. No, I'm saying I
I'm
agree
not
with Kid Rock.
saying you're the only one saying
Kid Rock
it.
comes out and says we.
No, but no one buys it from Kid Rock or Dana because they all say
conservatives
they
lost.
took
You lost.
105.
You lose.
They always
You
freaking lose because most conservatives.
Then don't
the
try.
Best name for them starts
Then
with
stop
P and ends
trying.
with Y. I'm not going to ever stop trying, and that's why our company's given 150 grand this year, which is nothing.
So what's
causes we
phase
care
two?
about?
What's phase two?
Phase 2 is continue holding the line.
That means do nothing. Bud
if
Light's
do nothing means stop buying a product.
They
you
already
bought
stopped
for
buying it.
No, but
They
they've
already
done it
stopped.
for 30 years in
People
a lot
already
of
stopped
cases.
buying them. Now what do they
They've
do?
done it
you
for-
could
then
consider
you
it a
win.
fortification
Then you
tactic.
win.
So we've taken
Yeah.
the line, they've fled. Now we fortify this area that we wanted.
What I'm telling you is that come April, Bud Light is going to stage
They're going to
another
make a
frontal
claim.
assault.
They're not going to do any assault. You think they're going to come out the Dylan Mulvaney ad?
No, I'm telling you, the media is going to report in April the boycott lost, and people like Ian's mom are going to hear that and tell you it doesn't work. They're going to go to the marketing departments at their companies and their tech outlets and say boycotts don't work.
And do you
And
think
they're
Bud Light's going to say we won this so
It
much we're
does-
coming out with a Dylan
Yes.
Mulvaney ad too?
But that's not what I said.
I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
Now,
Do you think
let's
if they
actually
won,
let's actually
that's
argue what I
they
was
would
saying.
do? That's what I'm trying to argue.
Now, let's argue
All
what
right,
I'm actually saying.
Which is what?
When CNN, the New York Times, MSNBC, and all these big media outlets that we are constantly battling with over narrative control report to the average American the boycott failed. Their stock is back above where it
Their
was.
stock's already back.
Exactly. And then they
So you claim victory now?
And then they're going to say, and yes, you declare victory now because they
While the
just
stock's already back?
because it came back because they gave us what we wanted. Then you
kidding? They happened 2 days ago or whatever the hell it was. You can't say the stock didn't just come back in the last 2 days.
the stock came back in November.
Before this happened.
Before what happened?
The whole Dana,
The
Dana White
UFC
thing.
no, the UFC thing was November. The stock started to rebound.
Within the last week, you're saying?
No. The stock rebounded in November around the time the UFC deal was announced.
Around the time or before or after?
Around, if you want to track day by day, you can go look
Well,
at it.
that's what we'd have to do to make
So
an argument.
the narrative is going to be among average people who are working for big companies, conservatives can't hold a boycott. This is going to happen, and I'm asking you what your plan is.
I think that
I won't even tell you what to do. By all means, don't buy Bud Light. I'm asking you, what is your plan?
again, I think if you go back to if you're going to say the plan is that if they are still down 20-something% in April, and so the media's going to come out and lie
In
and say
April, they're going to say we're up 2%.
I understand. From being just like we've had to do with the
Nobody
economy
knows
and
that.
everything else. No one knows that unless we're out there pushing. But I'm just not going to not tell the truth because I'm afraid.
No one
I
ever
don't
said
wanna use
no
Ian's
one ever
mom
said
as
don't
an
do that. That's
example
not the
anymore.
argument.
I'm just going to make a
The
disclaimer.
argument
afterwards.
is what is
I love your mom.
what is the
She's cool.
plan for the media's play in April? They will do this. What's your strategy?
The strategy is to give the opposite narrative, or to give the truth to what that is. I'm not saying the truth always wins. It doesn't always win.
Right.
But I'm going to fight for the truth going forward.
For the record,
that's our deal.
my
in
mom
our company.
in this
And so
metaphor.
that's not even that right. I don't disagree. The point is, what is the strategy for competing against a widespread media narrative, especially the beer industry? We're going to see the beer trekking companies that reported the loss reporting Bud Light is recovering, their stock is up, and their growth is here.
Okay, but I know the people in the beer industry. They are down a crap load of money right now. They're not going to be able to. These distributors who are
What does that have to do with what I said?
these distributors who are down 30-something% right now, if they're only down 20-something% in a few months, they're not going to be able to pretend it's back. They have advertising
No one
dollars.
said they're going
so
to
per
pretend.
case of beer, that is sold, they have a certain amount of money that they're giving back from these big distributors.
So we want the
brands.
message to be for all corporations. If you support Dylan Mulvaney, you will lose money.
Which would be exactly what that happens.
Except come April, their stocks recovered and their sales are in growth.
A 0.02% sales growth is not enough
I said
to
2%,
make up.
but
Okay, even 2%.
We're making up any number. But it doesn't matter. The stock's recovered and the company is growing. They're going to say the boycott's over.
You cannot say the company is, you can play word games to say it's growing when you're still 25% less than you were a year before.
No. In April, year over year,
a year and a half before.
In April, year over year, they will see growth. That's the point.
You can make the claim of growth, but you're still down 25% from what you've been for decades.
But that's not the point. The point is,
well, no, that's a big point to distributors
the point is,
who are getting
we
creamed.
want to win a culture war, not
agree.
a beer war.
I
The beer
agree.
is a component of the war. It's a single battle. If they run this narrative, what's the plan?
I mean, so you're just saying, so we have to always be on defense for any lie
No,
that
I'm
the mainstream
saying,
media wants to make up and sell
I'm saying,
people.
what's your offensive strategy?
Again, the truth.
But that's not. You're saying words. What are you going to do?
You're saying all they're going to say is words. Which
The media is going to mass report
imply,
beer sales numbers are up, and they're going to.
They're not going to be able to say that beer sales numbers are up.
Yes, they are. Fact.
Over year.
Yes, fact.
Okay, so we got wiped out a year ago, and we've come back this much.
Which means the boycott's over.
That does not take a lot to argue that.
And so you're going to see across the board, conservative boycott fails. Bud Light's in growth. They're going to have their spokesperson come out and they're going to say, we can see after a long time our mission.
And just everyone's going to be silent and no one's going to respond to that and say, hey, by the way, they're still down 25%.
Is anyone going to boycott UFC? Is anyone going to call out Dana White? Is anyone going to call out Kid Rock?
Conversation now.
No, I'm saying who's going to speak up?
Well, I'll speak up on Timcast when I can.
Right. My point is this. There has to be a strategy. And right now, the only strategy people has and all of the chat is, I will do nothing. As if,
and that will destroy a brand as it has. They're already diverting hundreds of millions of dollars of advertising outside of the Bud Light brand, and they're giving it to other companies within their organization, obviously.
Right. So then we need to declare victory.
I think it's already a victory. Yeah, I'm not going to
So the narrative needs to be, we won. Have a nice day. That's my point. What's the plan?
Agreed.
The plan is either we say we win or we go on the offensive.
No, I think we say we won and we continue the boycott.
Sure. And the
So
point,
you just continue marching. You don't you don't pursue the route. You to settle the area and then you continue the march, which is the boycott.
I mean, I don't know about this analogy, but
the analogy is you win the battle, they flee. You can either chase them down by boycotting all of their brands, or you can hold the line and then continue the march, which is holding the boycott. Rather than telling people to buy beer, which is a retreat,
right?
You just continue the march. You do not buy Bud Light.
Correct.
That's a option. Where are you marching to? Now we're just getting weird.
Yeah. I feel like the end result of this is the impact of the Bud Light thing. It was over as of like June. The sales that were gone were gone. Nothing else happened after that. Just narrative stuff. Just periodically being like, oh wow, some guy got fired, someone resigned. Since then, nothing has really happened. And so we can be like, we did it, but there needs to be a like. This is why
I think we absolutely. I think we're talking over each other a little bit. I absolutely believe we claim victory.
And this is why Kid Rock said, we did it, guys. We gave him the black eye.
But the difference is
good.
They're going out and say, go buy it again.
Dana White is.
I'm sorry. Right.
Kid Rock was
I don't know
a bit more flaccid and just like, look, we gave him the black eye. They deserved it. We got what we wanted out of it.
Okay.
And so with Kid Rock saying that as the guy who opened fire on the Bud Light, which really created the viral moment, which led to a widespread boycott, you can now say, ha, 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 we win. When we boycott, we get what we want.
Right.
Terrify all the other companies and say, we'll get exactly what we want if you cross us.
But I think if you let $105 million say, hey, we're going to start buying it all again, I think you lose it real quick.
Well, that's Dana White.
We just pay them off.
Then Dana White needs to be publicly called out by everyone at every point.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right, we got to go to the members only show.
Let me say this about my mom because we used her as an excuse.
I'm sorry about all this. I love your mom.
It's very clear. As the normie perspective, they see the news, they believe what they see, but she's also intelligent enough that if you explain they're down 25% from 10 years and they're going to say 2% to make it look like they're growing, she'll understand immediately that that's crap.
Yeah.
Right.
And my point is, I want the guy who works at, Wonder Bread to be like, oh man, if we do these campaigns, we're going to lose a lot of money. If the narrative inverts because everyone just stops and does nothing and says nothing, they're going to say, oh, but didn't that thing fizzle out? I just saw on CNN, they said that their sales are up and their stock is at an all-time high.
We'll have to look for articles when they claim revenue increase and call it out.
and already their stock has completely recovered.
And then we can do the numbers on top of what they were 2 years ago. And be like,
I gotta be honest.
Up 2%, down 27%. So you're down.
It is wild that their stock has completely recovered despite being down in sales.
Yeah, in early November, it jumped from 55 to 65 in like half a month.
Well,
I guess.
Bill Gates bought a lot of stock.
But that wasn't in
nice of
November.
him.
All right, we got to go to the members show. So smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Head over to timcast.com. We are a little bit late, but we'll be up in a couple minutes. You can follow the show at Timcast IRL. You can follow me personally at Timcast. Seth, you want to shout anything out?
Visit conservativedad.com. Get the Conservative Dads Real Women in America calendar. Love being here. At Seth Weathers on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Thank you so much for coming on. We'll start that conversation on fluoride very soon. But thank you so much for coming on. It was awesome. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/wearechange. I've been working really hard on that YouTube channel. I do lives, I do shorts, I do videos. There's 20 plus years of videos on there. Click the channel and click most popular. Be prepared to be surprised. Today's video was on the dark history of Harvard. I'm somewhat close to 1 million subscribers. It'll be cool to have. Subscribe, youtube.com/wearechange.
And I'm Ian Crossland, and I apologize for the grainy voice. I was therapeutically screaming Pearl Jam 10 the other night doing a release. Oh, it felt so good. I mean, it just really felt good. And speaking of musicians with grainy voices, I interviewed Dickie Barrett today from The Defiant. Fantastic human on my YouTube channel, X channel, things like that. So go subscribe to me all over the internet and check out that interview with Dickie. It was a lot of fun. I love you guys. Serge, take it away.
Yeah, you looked at me when you said musician with grainy voice. My voice is kind of grainy right now too, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, cheers, mate. Let's get to the after show, Tim.
We'll see you all we will see you all at timcast.com. Thanks for hanging out.